Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Football Live. Over 4 hours of football ahead of us, and we have so much to talk about, so much great action to bring you. Nigeria through to the quarter-finals of the AFCON. Hopefully you're not feeling too drained after a night of celebrating that fabulous win against Cameroon last night. Barcelona have joined Liverpool in the need for a new manager. African George Elekobi is the hero in the FA Cup as non-league Maidstone United reached the last 16 of the FA Cup. They play in the 6th level of football in England in non-league football. They got relegated less than a year ago from the National League and leaked over 100 goals. But my goodness me, did they cause an upset yesterday. Another trophyless season for Spurs. So much going on at the moment in the world of football. And we have to turn our attentions right now to today's live action. It's still morning over here. Well, just about turning into afternoon in England. And the FA Cup is being served almost as breakfast today. Wolverhampton Wanderers go to West Bromwich Albion in a cup tie between two fierce local rivals. Police demanding the earliest possible kick-off time to contain the hatred between these two. Wolves fans call West Brom the carrier bags. Baggies fans, that's West Brom fans, call Wolves the dogheads. We've seen the rivalry, and we've sent Jack Hesson to the Hawthorns into the battle zone. He's in between it all on the front line. Let's say good afternoon for the very first time to Jack Hesson. The game is underway. Jack, tell us what's happened so far.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Barry. And yeah, it is a big one in the West Midlands. A Black Country derby, fierce between these two local rivals, and as you said, it's you know, a tense atmosphere at the Hawthorns West Brom Stadium. 15 minutes in. Wolves have dominated most of the possession, but the main chances really have came from West Brom. They've had a couple of shots on target from headers, nothing really to trouble Jose Sa in the opening minutes, but we're only 15 minutes in and it should be a good one. 15 minutes in, it's West Brom 0, Wolves 0.
There's already a goal in the Eredivisie, the early kick-off over there. Heerenveen 0, Azad Alkmaar 1. The Greek Vangelis Pavlidis with a goal after 19 minutes in that game. Right, let's turn our attentions now to the AFC Asian Cup round of 16 action. Knockout football is going on all over the globe today. It's Australia against Indonesia. Only Football Live can take you in the blink of an eye from Birmingham in the West Midlands in England to Doha in the Middle East. And, well, I think it's fair to say good day to Richard Bond, who can tell us about a goal already.
G'day indeed. Everyone, we're about 15 minutes, half an hour into this Asia Cup last 16 tie at the Yazim bin Hamad Stadium, where it's 1-0 to the champions of 2015 Australia. It's mainly been one-way traffic, with Australia scoring through an own goal from defender Erkin Bagot after Jackson Irvine, who scored in the first 2 games of the previous 3, with a shot deflected in from the right-hand side. Having won Group B to qualify for knockout stage, no surprise the Socceroos are labelled the favourites for this tie. Conceded 1 goal in the last 7 games. Green Island side made 2 changes from their 1-0 draw. Uzbekistan bringing in Bolton defender Gethin Jones and forward Bruno Fornarioli. Indonesia, who qualified as best third place in Group D, have never made the last 16 and haven't beaten their opponents since 1981. Hope to cause an upset today. They've also made it the 2 changes with Bagot and Patinama coming into the defensive back 5 from the team that lost to Japan last time out. 32 minutes played. It's Australia 1, Indonesia 0.
Thank you very much, Rich. Our whistle-stop tour of the world takes us to France now. Montpellier have drawn 7 of their last 10 home games. Visitors Lille have drawn 5 of their last 10 away games. I'm thinking draw maybe here. Kick-off is coming soon. So bringing us team news, it's bonjour to Football Live's Ryan Benjamin.
Bonjour, Barry. Yeah, Montpellier line up with a 5-3-2 formation. They've made 4 changes from their last game in the Coupe de France. Nigerian centre-forward Akor Adams starts up front. He's their top scorer with 7 goals. Lille have also made 4 changes from their French Cup win. Highly rated Canadian striker Jonathan David leads the line. He has 10 goal involvements this season. And former Manchester United midfielder Angel Gomez will be the main attacking support for David. There's a few minutes gone. It's still 0-0.
Thank you very much for that, Ryan. We'll be straight across to France. Montpellier usually deliver goals on Football Live, so I'm hoping they won't disappoint this afternoon. So it's Montpellier against Lille. It's West Brom against Wolves. They're both 0-0 in the opening stages of those games. And Australia, a goal to the good against Indonesia in the Asian Cup playoffs. So that's now. Later on in the show, we'll be covering Celta Vigo against title-chasing Girona in Spain's La Liga. Queen's Park Rangers take on Huddersfield Town in the Championship. Big game that in England in the second tier between two sides battling against relegation to League One. Then, also later on in the show, Liverpool against Norwich City in the FA Cup from Anfield. A first game for Jurgen Klopp since his big news breaking on Friday. Watford take on in-form Southampton. And in the German Bundesliga, Union Berlin had a fantastic season last season to qualify for the Champions League. Well, this year it's a relegation battle, and they'll look to continue their slow climb up the table against the bottom club Darmstadt this afternoon. So, Jurgen Klopp will be staying at Liverpool only until the end of the season. That's when he will be waving goodbye. Here is how he broke the news earlier on Friday.
Yeah, I have to. I will leave the club at the end of the season. I can understand that it's a shock for a lot of people in this moment when you hear it the first time, and but obviously I can explain it, or at least try to explain it. And I love absolutely everything about this club. I love everything about the city. I love everything about our supporters. I love the team, love the staff, love everything. That I still take this decision probably will, or shows you that I'm convinced it's the one I have to take. It is that I'm running out of energy. I have no problem now. Obviously, I think I know it already for longer, that I will have to announce that at one point, but I'm absolutely fine now. But I know that I cannot do the job again and again and again and again.
Yeah, he wants to try presenting Football Live for 4 hours. That's pretty knackering as well. But almost immediately, the gossip started as to who will be filling the void that will be left by Klopp's departure at the end of the season. One name that immediately sprung to mind was that of Xabi Alonso, former Liverpool midfielder. Alonso was quick to respond to the rumours. He, of course, is the Bayer Leverkusen manager. They are top of the Bundesliga. Here is Xabi Alonso on the rumours.
To be honest, I am not in that moment to think about the next step. I'm thinking about where I am right now, and I think that I am in a great place, and I am enjoying, and I think it's the right place. So that's all I can say. I don't know about the paces. My pace is what's going to be at the pace of the team on Saturday, to be honest, because that's what really matters. And I'm going to be happy when we are playing well, and we deserve to win. And what's going to happen in the future, I don't know, and I don't really care at the moment.
So, Xabi Alonso, one of the favourites for the job, from a Xabi to a Xavi. And Barcelona have confirmed an agreement that has been reached with head coach Xavi to leave the Catalan club at the end of the season. Barca are 10 points behind Real Madrid now in the title race. 3 days ago, they crashed out of the Copa del Rey with defeat away at Athletic Bilbao. Last night's loss was a 3rd in 5, and it was a 5-3 home defeat against Villarreal last night that proved to be the straw that broke the camel's back. Xavi off June the 30th officially. He vacates his job as Barcelona manager. So 2 massive jobs that need to be filled in the summer. That will be a big talking point, I'm sure. The only chance of silverware for Barca now is in the Champions League, and next month they have a 2-legged round of 16 game against Victor Osimhen's Napoli. So the Jurgen Klopp era has come to an end, and there's still a chance to write a fairy tale ending, a nice little chapter for the Liverpool fans to remember forever in this amazing story.
With some massive breaking news in the world of football, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has announced his decision to step down as manager of Liverpool.
It's hard to just put it. He's brought so much to the club. It's hard to just put into a sentence. He means everything to the club, everything to the fans, and like say to the city as well.
The manager of the English Premier League club, Liverpool, has announced he's stepping down.
Everyone's shocked. Everyone's shocked. Mate, it's a sad day.
I will leave the club at the end of the season.
Got some bad news to break, unfortunately. Jurgen Klopp's announced that he's standing down as manager. End of the season. You're joking. No, I'm not joking. You're a Liverpool fan, big Liverpool fan.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about that?
Gutted.
But I know that I cannot do the job again and again and again and again.
You're devastated. I can't understand why he's leaving.
For you, the love grew for you, and the least thing I owe you is the truth. And that's the truth.
So there you have it. Jurgen Klopp will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. We'll have more Jurgen Klopp later on in the show because it's Liverpool against Norwich City in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Let's quickly go around the ground, shall we? We've got three games that we're keeping our eye on at the moment. No goals last time we were at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion and Wolves, big Midlands rivals. Jack Hesson is watching this one. Still 0-0, Jack?
Yes, still 0-0, but a decent chance there for West Brom. Jed Wallace on the right-hand side showed great footwork to beat Max Kilman. He got the ball into the box for Alex Mowat. His shot was blocked by veteran Craig Dawson. That really has been the best chance of the game so far, but it's really tightly matched given the difference in the leagues between these two. It feels like a really tightly matched game at the moment. 26 minutes played, it's still West Brom 0, Wolves 0.
Excellent, thank you very much for that, Jack. Let's head into the Asian Cup, the AFC Asian Cup, the playoff today. Australia 1-0 up on Indonesia. Are they still in control of this one, Richard Bond?
They are just about, but Indonesia have come back into this. It's still just a goal to the good for Australia, but Indonesia have had a chance through Marcelino Ferdinand to fired Rafael Strunis's layoff just over the bar, and they've also had a couple of other half chances, but not to really testing ex-Arsenal goalkeeper Matt Ryan. The score's still the same though, it's Australia 1, Indonesia 0.
Excellent, thank you, Rich. We'll continue our little detour of three games that we've got covered in early stages of Football Live this afternoon on Brilla FM by crossing over to France. Montpellier against Lille in Ligue 1. And watching this one for us at the Stade de la Mousson Mondial is Ryan Benjamin.
Yeah, good start from Montpellier, the team in this desperate relegation fight, 2 points away from the drop zone. They've had a little half chance with Arnaud Nordin in the box. Kind of wafted his left leg at it, got a toe poke on the ball, but it was blocked on the 6-yard box by the defender. The ball then bounced back into the box and fell just short of the former Sunderland man, Wabi Kazri, who couldn't quite get to the ball. There's 12 minutes gone, Montpellier 0, Lille 0.
Excellent, thank you very much for that, Ryan. Now we've been touching on the big news that Jurgen Klopp is leaving Liverpool, but last night Xavi announced that he will be leaving Barcelona at the end of the season. John Kane, our presenter, is with us in the studio this afternoon. John, big news from Liverpool, big news from Barcelona. Two big jobs that need filling in the summer.
They sure do. I mean, we already start talking about replacement for Liverpool. Obviously, it's probably a day or two older news than Xavi leaving Barcelona. But as for Liverpool, the name's already started. I'm looking on the odds, not about odds, but I'm just looking at general odds, and it actually puts Xavi Alonso as a firm favourite for the job. Now, we've heard what he just said early on in the clip from Xavi Alonso, but is it too soon for him, to jump in from a team that he's feeling very comfortable with? He's building it very nicely. They've got a project at Bayer Leverkusen, but is that project that he probably see himself running till next season and season after, trying to deter away the forces of Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund? Or does he want to go back to the club that he actually was amazing, wasn't he? He was absolutely an amazing midfielder for them at the time. So, but in the end of the day, that doesn't take away how big news are as far as both managers leaving within 2 days, announcing it for to the world that they are actually leaving the post.
You know, there's plenty of names in the mix, isn't there? Roberto De Zerbi could be heavily backed on either of those jobs, really, couldn't he? He's doing a fabulous job at Brighton and Hove Albion. And like you say, Xabi Alonso, it would be in many ways a perfect fit. The way that his Bayer Leverkusen side attacks, I think that'd be perfect for Liverpool. By the way, before we go any further, John, I can tell you there's been another goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Australia now 2 goals up on Indonesia. It's Australia 2, Indonesia 0. We'll be across to Richard Bond in just a second to get news on that goal between Australia and Indonesia. It does look like Australia are going to make it through to the last 8 of that competition just before half-time. A second goal for the Australians, and they now lead by 2-0. Martin Boyle right on the stroke of half-time, making it 2-0. Back to John. We was touching on the managerial vacancy, and it's really it's something that we're going to keep a very close eye on in the coming weeks and months. The timing of these, I mean, Xabi Alonso might be going to Liverpool, but Xavi quitting, you can kind of understand. I think he's got in and extended his stay until the summer before he gets sacked, to be honest. But for Jurgen Klopp, it seems to be health reasons, but it's strange timing, isn't it?
It's a strange timing going through the Spanish media, however, over the last couple of weeks. And Xavi did actually say that if he doesn't win the next game, that was in the Copa del Rey against United, which they won 3-1 after going 1 goal behind. He said if they lose this game, he'll resign as manager of Barcelona. Now, obviously, they managed to beat Betis, and they lost to Bilbao in the Copa del Rey, and I think he gave himself a chance. Right, he lost to a good team in Athletic Bilbao, but I think the nail hits in the head when they've lost to Villarreal at home by 5-3. That is very, very big results for not just Barcelona, but for the La Liga itself. And it just doesn't work for him in so many different ways because they haven't been playing well. Barcelona, they're about 10 points behind now and probably get extended later on when Girona play. Girona, the arch rivals on Barcelona, of course, we have to remember that they're more or less taken over from the Catalan team to rival Real Madrid this season. And of course, he has been under the cloud, Xavi, and I think it wasn't expected that he would leave. I think it was what was expected, that he's actually announcing that more or less he's staying on till the end of the season. The thing with Xavi, though, he loves Barcelona, and I think he's done it from the bottom of his heart in the way that while they're not performing well under him, then he's going to leave for the sake of the club. And I genuinely believe that is actually true as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much to John Kane. We'll be catching up with him very, very shortly. We've got plenty to talk about this afternoon here on Football Live. It is a massive afternoon of football. We've got plenty to talk about. Managers leaving, cup upsets, you name it. We've got to talk about it. But for now, we're going to take a break for 2 seconds. You are listening to Football Live.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys. You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM. Join on the corner where the big boys play.
Introducing NairaBet's new feature, ShareBet. Celebrate victories, showcase your skills, and join the NairaBet community today. Ever wished you could share the excitement of your bets with friends and fellow enthusiasts effortlessly? Well, now your betting experience can be shared with just a click, making every moment unforgettable. How to share your bet. Step 1, place your bets at nairabet.com. Step 2, go to the My Bet section. Step 3, select the drop-down on your bet slip. Step 4, select Share Bet to copy your bet. Your bet is now ready to be shared with the world. Must be 18 plus to place a bet. General terms and conditions apply.
Football Live returns next Saturday on Brila FM when we welcome back the Premier League after its winter break. We are back with a bang in the early kickoff where Everton at Goodison Park take on Ange Postecoglou's high-flying Tottenham Hotspur.
didn't help us out, and I don't like VAR. I don't like it today either.
Brighton take on Crystal Palace in the M23 derby at the Amex, with the Eagles looking for improvement after a very disappointing January.
Stop it here, shall we? I mean, you're going to be tricky with your questions.
It's top against bottom in Germany in the Bundesliga. Darmstadt are bottom, Bayer Leverkusen are pulling away at the top. It's our featured match in the Bundesliga.
Sowohl auf dem Platz als auch in der Kabine.
Add to the mix Fulham's away trip to Burnley and Newcastle United's home match against Luton Town in the Premier League, and you have an all-action-packed show that kicks off at 1:30 next Saturday with Dean Kilford, your Football Live host on Brila FM, your frequency of champions.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Yeah, red card for AZ Alkmaar, who lead, they did lead in Heerenveen. Jordi Klaasie has just equalised for Heerenveen. An own goal by Jordi Klaasie as well. So that's Heerenveen 1, AZ 1. But Denzo Casillas, the former Bologna man, has just been sent off just before half-time. Heerenveen 1, AZ Alkmaar 1. Let's get straight across to the AFC Asian Cup in Doha, the capital of Qatar. And Richard Bond is watching this one. Half-time whistle has blown. There's been a second goal for Australia, and they are in complete control of this tie, aren't they, Richard?
Yes, they are. It's half-time here. It's Australia 2 to the good, and own goal from Jurgen Bagot and the diving head from Martin Ball just before half-time. The difference as Socceroos take control of this as expected. Indonesia are the underdogs and the lowest-ranked side left in the competition. Have had their moments, but have been punished by clinical finishing, with Jackson Irvin, the chief tormentor from the right-hand side, where both goals have come from. They're still in this, of course, and hopefully there's going to be more goals in this second half, as we usually do on Football Live. But at half-time, it's Australia 2, Indonesia 0.
Thanks very much, Rich. From Doha to West Bromwich, and let's catch up with Jack Hesson, where there was very nearly an own goal in this big cup tie, Jack.
Yeah, almost a disaster for the home side. It was Bellegarde on the left-hand side. He spotted the adjacent run of Mateus Cunha towards the box, played him in. Mateus Cunha tried to get it across the box, but there was nobody in the middle, and it almost was an own goal when Cedric Kipre, former Motherwell man in centre half, nearly botched his clearance goalwards. It was about a yard away from going in the back of the net, and that would have been a disaster for West Brom, especially given how well they've started this game. It's been really tightly matched so far, and a cagey affair. 36 minutes played, it's still West Brom 0, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much for that, Jack. In the WSL, the Women's Super League here in England, Nikita Parris has scored an early goal. Manchester United have taken the lead at Leeds Sports Village. Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0. Last night, Lauren James scored twice as Chelsea moved 6 points clear at the top of the WSL. Chelsea women 3-0 winners against Brighton and Hove Albion away from home. Fran Kirby also on target for Emma Hayes' side, who look on course for another title success. She, of course, leaves at the end of the season to take over USAWT. Let's head now to our featured game in France. In fact, we'll just hold fire for 1 second.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It's West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1 in the Cup, and Wolves strike in the Black Country Derby. The Wolves fans who have filled one end of the Hawthorns are jumping with jubilation because their side has taken the lead in that game. We will be across to the Hawthorns in just a second. It's a goal from Neto, and we'll catch up with Jack Hesson in just a second to hear all about it. Let's head quickly into France. Montpellier against Lille is our featured game in Ligue 1. Stade de la Moisson-Mondale is the place to be, is it, Ryan Benjamin? Although we haven't seen a goal yet, have we?
Haven't seen a goal, but just seen a good chance from Angel Gomez. We mentioned him at the start of the game. He picks up the ball on the edge of the box and whips it wide. A tackle came in and kind of took him out, really. There was maybe a half-hearted talk of maybe a penalty for a late tackle, but Gomez stayed down and he's just getting some treatment at the moment. Lille have had 70% of the ball, really putting their stamp on this game. 16-year-old midfielder Ayoub Baoudi making his second appearance, which is a really, really classy player. Is Lille looking to step it up a little bit now? 23 minutes gone, Montpellier 0, Lille 0.
Thank you very much. So let's head to West Bromwich Albion against Wolverhampton Wanderers. We have our first goal. Half-time is just round the corner. Jack Hesson, good time for Wolves to get their noses in front.
Yeah, first blood in the derby goes to Wolverhampton, and it all comes from a quick counter-attack and a poor cross by West Brom. Alex Mowat tried to float the ball towards the edge of the area. It was well intercepted by Matt Doherty, who started advancing forward. He found Neto on the right-hand side. Neto from the right-hand side puts it all the way towards the attacking final third for Wolves, cuts inside and hits a low-driven finish into the bottom left-hand corner. Really poor goal for West Brom to concede, but a great finish from Neto. And we are now 38 minutes on the clock. It's West Brom 0, Wolves 1.
Excellent, thank you very much for that, Jack. So just to bring you bang up to date, Australia 2, Indonesia 0, West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. We've got knockout cup action for you for the duration of this show, Football Live, all the way through to 5 o'clock tonight. Montpellier against Lille, the big game in France. As we just heard from Ryan Benjamin, it's still goalless, but we are reasonably early in that game. And so Pedro Neto scoring there. I've just been watching the game in the corner of my eye, actually, and one thing that certainly has caught my eye is Totti Gomez, who's been playing on the left-hand side for Wolves. He's got his hair just like Victor Osimhen from a distance. I had to double-take thinking as he left the African Cup of Nations and transferred from Napoli to Wolves, but he's a little bit broader in the shoulders, is Totti Gomez, and it's Wolverhampton Wanderers that lead the Hawthorns by a goal to nil. Let's turn our attentions now to yesterday in the FA Cup, and all the headlines were made by a team that wear the same colours as Wolves. Their manager used to play for Wolves. It's George Elakobi. Big headline this for everyone in Africa, because George is from Cameroon, born and bred there, and he came to England, played in non-league football for Dulwich Hamlet, moved on to big things with Wolves, played in the Premier League for them, and now he's the manager of Maidstone United, and he's taken them to the last 16 of the FA Cup. It really is a great story, and this is how we told that story to you right here on Football Live with Dean Kilford yesterday afternoon.
Chance after chance after chance after chance for Ipswich Town, and it's Maidstone United that have gone up the other end to break away to take the lead in the Portman Road. Here's Matt Smith to describe it.
Oh my God, the scenes. It's Ipswich 1, Maidstone 2. It's Lamar Reynolds who scored the first goal. He's set up this time. It's Sam Corn that slots it past Christian Walton. A nice calm finish. And can I believe I'm saying this? Not really. 66 minutes played. It's Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone 2.
Unbelievable scenes as Maidstone United lead Ipswich Town of the Championship by 2-1.
It's just amazing. History has been made here. This is an inspirational moment for us all, for Cameroon, for Africa, for every young man that has gone through what I've been through in life. Always believe.
Wow, George Elakobi. We'll be hearing from him a little bit more later in the show. Maidstone 2-1 winners at Ipswich. 98 places in the football standings between second place Ipswich in the Championship and Maidstone, who are currently 5th in the National League South. They're not even in the top non-league division. The National League South, a regional division, what they were relegated into last season, relegated from the National League, scoring very few goals, letting in rather a lot, 104 goals in their 46 league games. They came down without a whimper, but George Elakobi has got them united down there at the Gallagher Stadium. Great result for them yesterday. Bet they can't wait for this afternoon's FA Cup draw. The FA Cup draw, by the way, will be made this afternoon, and it will be at some point during the Liverpool versus Norwich City game. Myself and John Kane will try and keep a close eye on that and bring you the draw for the 5th round of the FA Cup. Without looking at my calendar, I think the 5th round ties are being played midweek during February. Right, let's get back to France. Montpellier against Lille. We haven't been able to bring you a goal, but Ryan Benjamin, you can tell us about a really good chance.
Yeah, an excellent break from midfield by Goodmanson. He was cleaned out by Christophe Julien, but he managed to get his pass off to Jonathan David, the top scorer for Lille, with 8 goals this season. He opens his body and bends the ball just wide of the post. An excellent opportunity for Lille. Julien was booked for his tackle, so it could be worth keeping an eye on him as well. but Lille really pushing for a goal now, and it only seems like it's a matter of time before they break the deadlock. 28 minutes gone, Montpellier 0, Lille 0.
Thank you very much, Ryan. And now it's time to catch up with some of the latest odds. Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. We're a minute to go till about half-time plus stoppage time. In the FA Cup, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. West Brom at home are 10.0 for the win. The draw is 4.50, and for Wolves away win is 1.36. The French League, you just heard, is still 0-0 between Montpellier and Lille after 29 minutes. Montpellier have just gone up to 4.20. The draw has gone down to 2.88, and Lille to win away is 2.20. As half-time in the Dutch Eredivisie between Heerenveen and AZ Alkmaar is 1-1 there. Heerenveen are 1.91 for the win. The draw has just gone up to 2.80, and AZ Alkmaar to win are 6.0. It's also half-time in the Italian Serie A between Genoa and Lecce. Lecce are leading Genoa away by a goal to nil. Genoa at home are 7.0. The draw has just gone up to 3.60, and away win for Lecce is 1.62. Australia against Indonesia, the other game that we're covering from the Asian Cup. It's half-time, Australia 2, Indonesia 0. It's suspended for Australia. The draw has just gone up to 12.0, which I think that is very, very good price for them. And the away win, shall I say, a win for Indonesia has gone down to 34.0. Now, as Australia's bet is suspended, let's have a look at some of the goals. Some people are interested in goals. If you think it's going to be over 3.5 goals in that game between Australia and Indonesia, that means 2 more goals or more. The odds are 1.95. If you think it's going to be over 4.5 goals, it's 3.80. Just quickly, for the game later on between Liverpool and Norwich and Watford and Southampton, Liverpool are firm favourites for that game to win. They are 1.18 for the win. The draw is 8.0, and Norwich are 13.0. And finally, for the other game that I'm keeping an eye on between Watford and Southampton, Watford are 3.30. The draw is 3.80, and Southampton to win that game away from home is 2.05. Of course, all these prices are from NairaBet and is all subject to change.
Thank you very much, John. Half-time, Australia 2-0 up on Indonesia in the AFC Asian Cup over in Qatar. In the FA Cup, West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolves 1. We'll be across to Jack Hesson for a half-time update in just a few moments' time. Turning our attentions to yesterday and indeed on Friday. Plenty of FA Cup action. In fact, Thursday there was a game as well. Bournemouth 5, Swansea City 0. It finished all those goals coming in the first half of that game. Friday, there was a little bit of a goal drought at Stamford Bridge. It finished Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0. Here is the Chelsea manager, Mauricio Pochettino.
We didn't score, but we created chances. But I trust and believe in my player for sure. Playing in this way, we are going to score. And we came from Tuesday that we scored 6. Sometimes to keep some for today should be good. But I think I think it's because the keeper is an amazing keeper, Emiliano, and he was really, really good. Yes, and sometimes you need some luck to score.
Excellent. Let's head straight back to the Hawthorns. Half-time whistle has blown, and bragging rights at the moment, Jack Hesson, are belonging firmly to the gold and black of Wolves.
Yeah, half-time at the Hawthorns in the Black Country Derby, and it is Wolves with the advantage. 45 minutes away now from the next round of the FA Cup. It has been a tense and cagey affair, chances few and far between. West Brom certainly have made a good account of themselves, given that they are the Championship club in this tie, but it all came from a quick counter-attack from a corner, not well delivered by West Brom, intercepted by Doherty to Neto. Neto then took it all the way towards the West Brom goal and dispatched a low-driven finish to give Wolves the lead, and that really has been the difference between the two sides at half-time. It's West Brom 0, Wolves 1.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Jack Hesson. So half-time, Wolves are leading. At half-time, Australia leading. They'll be underway in the second half. Half-time is about 10 minutes away. Still Montpellier 0, Lille 0. We'll be back to Ryan Benjamin for some updates very, very soon. But for now, we're heading back to FJ. He's taking your calls and keeping ahead of social media. One or two very happy Nigerian fans out there still celebrating that victory last night. 2-0 winners against Cameroon, of course. The quarterfinals of the AFCON for the Super Eagles. And here's FJ with a spring in his step and a smile on his face. Hello, FJ. Over to you, mate.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Yes, no greed for anybody, indeed, FJ. There you go. I followed my instructions. Having said that, no greed for everybody. I put a lovely plate of some cookies out on the tray earlier on the table here in the studio, and John Kane's gone and eaten them all. So, but greed, I don't know. We're having a word with him a little bit later on. Listen, we've got a red card in the game in France. Let's get straight over there, shall we? Montpellier against Lille. To tell us all about it, it's Ryan Benjamin.
Oh, it's the young man. It's Ayew Aboubi, the 16-year-old. He was booked earlier for a deliberate pullback, and he's just going to done exactly the same thing right on the stroke of half-time. There's a counter-attack, and he just pulls back his opponent. The 16-year-old it's only his second appearance and showing a bit of naivety. Montpellier were playing well. Maybe the pressure of the game got to him a little bit, but it's two really silly yellow cards that he's picked up. And we're right on the stroke of half-time. If he just let the player go, the ref would have blown up and it would have been half-time at 0-0 with 11 men each. But as it stands, Lille will be starting the second half down to 10 men.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Ryan. So Ayew Aboubi sent off. He's only just 16 in October. And the attacking midfielder who's come through the ranks for Lille, the French under-17 international, is shown a red card. He is a French under-17 international, but he is of Moroccan origin and could one day be playing in the AFCON for Morocco. We shall wait and see. Let's get across the ground, shall we? First of all, we're going to go to a match that we haven't visited so far. Luke Charlton is our man at the Abanca Balados, where in La Liga, our feature game this afternoon is Celta Vigo against the championship chasing surprise package that is Girona. And to bring us team news, it's a very good afternoon to Luke Charlton.
Yes, good afternoon, Barry. Good afternoon to the Football Live listeners as well. Yes, you join me here at the Abanca Balados today for a match between 16th Celta Vigo versus second place and title chasing Girona. There's two changes for the home side after their narrow defeat to Real Sociedad last weekend. Carl Starfelt and Anastasios Dovikas come into the side, with Miguel Rodriguez and Carlos Dotter dropping out. New signing Javier Manquillo is not fit enough to make the bench with an ongoing groin injury. And now for Girona, there's three changes, as they know that a win today can take them back to the summit, with Arnau Martinez in for Juanpe at the back. Alex Garcia also returns for a red card suspension in place of Ivan Martin in midfield, and Artem Dovbek, fresh from his hat-trick against Sevilla last week, he leads the line for Girona in this mouth-watering clash.
Thank you very much, Luke Charlton. We'll be back to Luke Charlton throughout the afternoon as that game gets underway. Luke Brouwers has scored an early goal in the second half. They were trailing Heerenveen against the 10-man of AZ Alkmaar, but they are now leading by 2 goals to 1. That's the first goal that Heerenveen has scored in that game, because their equaliser was scored by Jordi Bruijs, an own goal. So Heerenveen ahead against AZ Alkmaar. It's half-time at the Lee Sports Village in the WSL. Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0. 2 goals for Nikita Paris. And that one looks to be heading for a 3-pointer for United in that game. Let's get across to Richard Bond, who can bring us bang up to date with the AFC Asian Cup game. Australia against Indonesia, and Australia very much in control of this one still. Richard Bond.
Yeah, Australia's still 2 to the good. We're 15 minutes into the second half. Matt Ryan hadn't really been that much tested. He's wearing a face mask today after a fractured cheekbone before the tournament was started, but he hadn't really had that much to deal with. Australia controlling possession. Indonesia in response made a bit of a change, tried to go a bit more attacking. Jordi Amat, the ex-Swansea City footballer, has taken over the captain's armband. He qualifies for the country because playing for 20 because of a grandmother who's from Indonesia. Interesting stat there. But yeah, 30 minutes to go here. Australia 2, Indonesia 0.
And it does look like Australia are heading towards quarter-finals. Let's move on to the Hawthorns. The second half is underway. West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Jack Hesson, have the Baggies come out battling for an equaliser?
Yeah, West Brom certainly had a decent start to the second half. They just had a great chance there by Jed Wallace. A decent shot from outside the box, ultimately saved well by Jose Sa. Jed Wallace on the right-hand side really has been the danger point for West Brom so far. He's caused a lot of problems for Wolves, but they just can't turn that into clear-cut chances at the moment. 48 minutes on the clock, it's still West Brom 0, Wolves 1.
Thank you very much to Jack Hesson at the Hawthorns. Can't help but feel there's another twist in the towel in that local derby in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Right, let's get to the game in France. Montpellier against Lille. We've just had a red card. No goals at half-time for Ryan Benjamin. And, yeah, the half-time whistle is blown.
Yeah, good half. Soured at the end by that second yellow for Ayoub Badoudi. The 16-year-old sent off almost, I think he forgot that he was on a booking. He looked shocked when he was actually shown the second yellow. But his team were under the cosh a bit before then anyway. Lucas Chevalier in the Lille goal making 2 brilliant saves. A point-blank range volley from Wabi Kazri was tipped over the bar, and then a flying save from a long-range effort from Joris Cotard was probably the pick of the bunch, really. He's kept his side in it, and he's going to be busy, you feel, in the second half, as Montpellier look to step it up really now with the man advantage. Half-time, Montpellier 0, Lille 0.
Thank you very much, Ryan Benjamin. We'll be back with the second half, I'm sure, very, very soon. Let's hook up again with John Kane. He's eating all my biscuits, but we'll forgive him for that, won't we? Because we are a forgiving lot here at Football Live. John, big game yesterday, Ipswich against Maidstone United, and wow, what a result for George Alakobi and Maidstone United. 98 places below Ipswich and have gone to Portman Road, and not many people have gone to Portman Road this year and won, by the way, apart from Fulham. And that's a great result, isn't it?
It's a fantastic result, and that's what the FA Cup is all about. Maidstone, who are fourth on the, I have to check it out, the National League South, going to Ipswich. They only had 2 shots on target, and they've scored from both of them. And amazingly, Ipswich has 38 shots and only managed to score that on 1 goal. And that was an equaliser at the time. But it was a brilliant from Maidstone, absolutely brilliant. And I'm sure they'll be looking forward for the next round and who they're going to play. And I'm sure they'll be hoping for teams like Manchester City or Newcastle or someone, and if he's at home, it'd be brilliant because their following yesterday was amazing. But that's the beauty of the FA Cup, and is to watch, chat for all these smaller clubs. And history of Mason tells you as well that they did have financial problems, didn't they? And they started from scratch again a few years ago, and they're back on the map, back on the world map, and surely credit goes to their manager and of course the whole of Cameroon and Africa acknowledge that, because anything that happens in Europe who's got an African roots is brilliant for African football, and he's definitely proved it yesterday.
John, you're absolutely right. Shall we hear from George Alakobi? I think now is a good time as ever to hear from the Maidstone United manager, who's making shockwaves in world football at the moment after what his team achieved in the FA Cup yesterday.
Exceptional performances from the entire group of players. We've come to Ipswich Town with a great history behind Ipswich. They're flying high in the championship. For our group of players to be clapped up and applauded by these fantastic fans is just amazing. History has been made here. Back in my country again, Cameroon, Kumba, all those who are behind St. Joseph's College Sase. This is an inspirational moment for us all, for Cameroon, for Africa, for every young man that has gone through what I've been through in life. Always believe there is hope. Always believe there is faith. believe in yourself, always stay humble and respectful. And if you got that, you can create a group like I've done. You can create a club like our football club, but everly proud and happy for our owners as well.
So that was George Elokobi, the manager of Maidstone United, into the last 16 of the FA Cup. John, brilliant result for them. Moving on to the AFCON, we can't go without talking about Nigeria. Brilliant performance last night, 2-0 win against Cameroon, 2 goals from Ademola Lookman through to the last 8. I know Angola is not going to be easy, but most people are looking at that and thinking, there's a semi-final place up for grabs here, and really if Nigeria perform to their capabilities, they should win on Friday, and they will be in the last 4, and suddenly it gets very interesting, doesn't it?
It does indeed, and their performance yesterday was fantastic, and the way they played was absolutely brilliant. And to beat Cameroon's not an easy team. Cameroon's got not just a good squad, but they've got a brilliant history in the World Cup. They've got a brilliant history in the AFCON. So. And Nigeria sort of dominated that, didn't they? Everyone comes out in the end with Nigeria rather than Cameroon. And Cameroon, on merits and on credits, they've done very well before in AFCONs and done very well in the World Cups as well. So it's more or less a clash of the giants, an early clash of the giants in the AFCON tournament. And we won't have to say goodbye to Cameroon, and good luck for Nigeria to go all the way to the final.
Absolutely, John. And let's hear from Jose Peseiro, the manager, of course, the head coach of Nigeria, speaking after that excellent 2-0 win last night against Cameroon.
We want to win, but other teams also. Okay, we must do is do our best every day, every time. You are happy, my players, my guys, my boys, the staff, everybody, the Nigerian people. Now is prepare next match. Eat well, eat pasta, sleep early, enjoy, but keep the focus on responsibility. After that you start the training, because next match will be more difficult than this one. If someone think next match is not with more difficulty like this one, cannot play. I think my players know that. Now I think you build a fantastic spirit, but in focus, rest and training more until next match.
So that was Jose Peseiro speaking last night. He's not the most popular head coach in the world of international football, is he? But suddenly he's growing a little bit in amongst the Nigerian fans after taking them through as far as he has in the AFCON. Let's stretch our attentions now to the here and now and the FA Cup. Hawthorns is the place to go. It's West Bromwich Albion against Wolves, where the referee has been waving a few yellow cards about, hasn't he, Jack Hesson?
Yeah, just had a yellow card there for Jed Wallace on a challenge in the middle of the park. A cynical foul, but nonetheless booking. A great chance there for West Brom just a couple of minutes ago. Alex Moore on the edge of there plays a great back post cross towards Jed Wallace. Jed Wallace header across the face of goal to the striker Thomas Asante. And he tries to go for the shot, but Max Kilman gets in the way. They wanted a penalty for it, but it was just inches away. It was an open goal. If Asante had got a finish on it, then it would have almost certainly been a goal. They wanted a penalty. The referee waved play on. So West Brom coming a bit closer in this game. It's definitely not over yet. 55 minutes on the clock. Still West Brom 0, Wolves 1.
Yes, talking about waving a few yellow cards, let's head off, shall we, to Doha in Qatar and our AFC Asian Cup knockout game this afternoon. Australia are on their way to the quarterfinals, it seems, unless there's a late comeback from Indonesia, and the referee has certainly been reaching for those yellow cards in that game, hasn't he, Richard Bond?
He has indeed, yeah. This game's getting a bit tetchy. Indonesia having more of the possession recently, but Australia have the 2-goal advantage. And a few plays in the book. We had Sandy Walsh, bit of frustration kicking out of Gethin Jones, who returned the favour minutes later. He's been substituted, both of them in the book. And Nathaniel Atkinson's come on. He created a half chance, really, for Martin Boyle, who scored his 8th international goal earlier on in the game, but it went over the bar. That's the best it's got in this second half. It's Australia 2, Indonesia 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. There's been a goal in Italy. Genoa have equalised against Lecce. The Argentine-born Italian international Matteo Retegui has equalised in that game. Played one game in 5 years for Boca Juniors. Then he had a few loan spells out here, there and everywhere. Last summer decided to opt for Genoa in Italy, and he scored now 5 goals in 15 games. That's not a bad return for the 24-year-old striker, who's on target again today. Genoa 1, Lecce 1. So, let's keep you up to date with what we are covering today on Football Live. Australia on their way through to the last day of the AFC Asian Cup. In the round of 16, they're beating Indonesia 2-0. Just heard there from Richard Bond. We're also keeping a very close eye on the Black Country Derby. It's West Bromwich Albion against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves from the Premier League beating the High Flyers in the Championship, West Brom, by a 1-0. Jack Hesson is, of course, keeping us bang up to date with that. In France, second half is just about to get underway. Still no goals, but a red card for the 16-year-old Ayoub Bouani has been the headline maker in that game so far, but still 0-0. Second half just about to start with Ryan Benjamin. That's in French League One, Montpellier against Lille. Celta Vigo versus Girona is just getting underway as we speak. First couple of minutes in that game. Celta Vigo against Girona will be across to Luke Charlton very soon. Queen's Park Rangers against Huddersfield Town. Big game in the Championship in England at Shepherd's Bush. We've sent our very own Pat Norrett to do some wheeling and dealing down there in the bush. It's QPR against Huddersfield Town. That will be our featured game a little bit later on. We hope to hook up with Pat Norrett very soon with some team news. And then later on, 2 big cup ties in the FA Cup. Liverpool, first game for them since the shock news that Jurgen Klopp will be leaving. They're at home against Norwich City at Anfield today. Molly Sumpter will be with us very soon with some team news. And likewise, Jordan Okoli, who is going to be watching the All-Championship affair. Watford are in decent form against Southampton, who are in exceptional form. That should be a really good cup tie, that one at Vicarage Road. And then, just to add a little bit of spice into our super recipe for this afternoon, it's Union Berlin against Darmstadt, a relegation 6-pointer at the Stadion Ander Forestari. And Mark Thomas will be joining us very soon for updates on that game. So that's what we've got for you this afternoon. We'll also be dipping into what has happened so far this weekend on Football Live. It's been a busy weekend in the FA Cup. We'll be hearing from 1 or 2 managers along the way as well. Let's go back into the AFC Asian Cup, and Australia, well, they're 2-0 up on Indonesia. The clock is ticking, and Richard, we know who Australia are going to be playing in the next round if they could just hold on.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a tie, interesting tie against Saudi Arabia or South Korea, which South Korea, one of the major nations in this competition. Saudi Arabia also won it on a few occasions too, so it's going to be a juicy tie, that, in the next round. But we've got 16 minutes left on the clock. Indonesia really need to throw something at this one, I feel, if they're to get anything out of this now. It's Australia 2, Indonesia 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. Genoa now 2-1 up on Lecce in Italy. Caleb Ekuban with the second goal. 2 big strikers both finding the net there. He's a Ghana international who has just gone and scored for Genoa. And, well, he played in the AFCON qualifiers, but he didn't make the squad for this year's AFCON. But he's gone and scored there. Caleb Ekuban. And in Germany, let's have a look, where are we? Belgium. Centruden 0, KRC Genk 1. An early goal there for Yurasor after just 2 minutes. Let's get back to the Hawthorns. No love lost between West Bromwich Albion and Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's been a while since these two have played. They've not been in the same league for a few years. And for Wolves, they lead by a 0-0 as West Brom apply the pressure, but they haven't been able to find the all-important equalising goal so far, have they, Jack Hesson?
No, they haven't, and really chances have been few and far between. Again, credit to West Brom, they really have matched up to the Premier League opponents this afternoon, but again, Wolves just look so dangerous on that counter-attack. They're leaving Pedro Neto up on that right-hand side, as they have done for almost the entire game, and when they hit the counter-attack, all they do is try and get the ball across to him, and he tries to cause problems for Wolves. But as I say, chances really few and far between at the moment. West Brom dominating the possession in the second half, not turning that into chances. 61 minutes on the clock, it's still West Brom 0, Wolves 1, but I suspect there might be another goal in this game.
We'll hold you to that, Jack. Thank you very much. West Brom, 8 shots, 3 on target. Wolves, 5 shots, 3 on target. But of course, as we all know, in the game of football, it's not about shots. It's not about possession. It's not about any of that. It's about putting the ball in the back of that net. And Wolves have done it once. West Brom have yet to do it this afternoon. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. So Australia on their way through. Wolves on their way through at the moment as it stands. Montpellier have got a whole 45 minutes to try and make the most of a one-man advantage at home to Lille, and they are peering over their shoulders, Montpellier, at a potential scrap down at the bottom of Ligue 1. They don't want to be dragged into a relegation battle. And of course, Girona looking to rip off the top of the table in Spain, Real Madrid, and take over that top spot in the coming hour or two. They are away to Celta Vigo this afternoon. Won't be an easy one. That one currently 0-0, and we will be across to Luke Charlton to hear all about that one as well. Australia, 2 shots, 2 on target. Indonesia, 5 shots, 1 on target. Not quite as one-sided as perhaps many of us were expecting. Montpellier, 8 shots, 4 on target. Lille have had 6 shots. That's easier said than done, isn't it? 6 shots and 0 have been on target. That's why they've got a scoreline of 0. But we do see that occasionally, don't you, in football, where they've had 0 shots on target and yet they're winning 1-0 because a shot was off target, it's hit defender and gone in. I've seen that a few times in these interesting stats, and you scratch your head and think, how can they be 1-0 up when they have done a shot on target? But it does happen in football. Interesting, the stats and the XPs and all that, but it's all about putting the ball in the back of the net, as I said earlier on. Probably now is as good a time as any to catch up with John Kane, I think, and maybe get some latest odds. Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. Now, we're talking about the West Bromwich Albion against Wolves. West Bromwich Albion are still losing at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers by a 1-0 after 64 minutes. West Bromwich Albion are 19.0 to turn it around on this tie, 4.75 for the draw, and it's 1.25 for a Wolves away win. But the more interesting one, a more close one, is the French League 1. 49 minutes gone, we're into the second half. It's still Montpellier 0, Lille 0. Montpellier are 2.15 for the win, a draw is 2.50, and a away win for Lille is 5.50. Of course, Lille are playing with 10 men. 69 minutes gone in the Dutch Eredivisie between Heerenveen and AZ Alkmaar. Heerenveen are leading by 2-1. Heerenveen now are 1.20 to win. The draw is 6.0 and away win for Alkmaar is 19.0. And I believe Alkmaar played with 10 men, but I'll let Barry correct me if that's true or not. 8 minutes to go in Italian Serie A between Genoa and Lecce. Genoa leading to Lecce by 2-1. Lecce are 1.17 for the win. The draw is 6.50, and Lecce, who are leading early on, now they are 41.0. Let's go for the Indonesia-Australia game. Of course, let's talk about goals here, because the odds, the draw, the best one you can get is the draw is 11.0. Indonesia's turnaround is 51.0. However, if we think it's going to be over 2.5 goals, so another goal in this game is 1.95. And if you think it's going to be over 3.5 goals, that means 2 goals or more in the remaining 10 minutes plus stoppage time or so is 5.0. Of course, all these prices are from NairaBet, and it's all subject to change.
Thank you very much, John. Yeah, I can confirm that it was a red card for RZ Alkmaar in the first half. Denzo Casillas sent off straight red just before half time. They've also scored an own goal, RZ Alkmaar tonight, and they are 2-1 down at Heerenveen. Thank you very much for those odds, John. In Turkey, Sivasspor 1, Besiktas 0. Besiktas behind very early on. Ray Manaj scoring the goal, the Albanian international from a very early spot in that game. He's gone and scored after just 6 minutes of that game, the former Watford man, to make it 1-0. The Albanian international on target. Besiktas are behind, and well, it's Been an exciting afternoon so far. Australia on the verge of making the last 8 of the AFC Asian Cup. West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolves 1. Can Wolves hold out and make it through to the last 16 of the FA Cup? Liverpool against Norwich to come. We've also keeping a very close eye on the high flyers in Spain, Girona, and a big relegation battle in the Bundesliga as Union Berlin take on Darmstadt. All to come here on Football Live. You are on Briller FM listening to Football Live.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys. You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Briller FM. Join round the corner where the big boys play.
Place 10 bets, get one free. You can earn an unlimited number of free bets with NairaBet. No matter which game you're watching right now, feel the thrill with our live match special. For every 10 in-play bets placed, you will receive a 5,000 Naira free bet. Log in to www.nairabet.com. Click on the Live tab. Place 10 in-play bets on different games. Then the free bet is yours. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18. Minimum stake of 5,000 Naira per live bet. Minimum odds of 1.2 per live bet. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
OK, let's get Sean Dyche, the Everton manager, on the telephone. He's just lost 10 points.
Hello?
Sean, how can we improve Football Live?
If you want to get to the depth of real reporting, go around the Premier League and ask all of the Premier League management. If they give you a boring answer, we'll drive down and we'll slap them with a wet fish.
Are you happy spending a whole day in a car with the Football Live crew?
All day. Be much more fun than you ask me about whether we're going to play a 4-4-2. And they go, yeah, he is. Sean Dyche is going to play a 4-4-2.
That is excellent news. Sean Dyche does like Football Live after all. Well, we didn't take the 10 points away from him, did we?
Football Live returns next Saturday on Briller FM when we welcome back the Premier League after its winter break. We are back with a bang in the early kickoff where Everton at Goodison Park take on Ange Postecoglou's high-flying Tottenham Hotspur.
It didn't help us out, and I don't like VAR. I don't like it today either.
Brighton take on Crystal Palace in the M23 derby at the Amex, with the Eagles looking for improvement after a very disappointing January.
Stop it here, shall we? I mean, you're going to be tricky with your questions.
It's top against bottom in Germany in the Bundesliga. Darmstadt are bottom, Bayer Leverkusen are pulling away at the top. It's our featured match in the Bundesliga.
Sowohl auf dem Platz als auch in der Kabine.
Add to the mix Fulham's away trip to Burnley and Newcastle United's home match against Luton Town in the Premier League, and you have an all-action packed show that kicks off at 1:30 next Saturday with Dean Kilford, your Football Live host on Briller FM, your frequency of champions.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Yes, welcome back. Let's get around the ground, shall we? We've got plenty of action going on at the moment. Let's start at the Hawthorns, that big local derby. West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. About 20 minutes to go, and Jack Hesson, Wolves still in control of this game.
Yeah, and they just had a really decent chance there to try and double the advantage. It was Bellegarde on the edge of the area, tried a low-driven, curling effort towards the bottom left-hand corner. It was just a yard wide from making Wolves double their advantage. We've had a couple of substitutions as well. Former Chelsea and one-time England international Stefano Chalobah is off. Tom Fellows is on for West Brom, and they just mentioned Bellegarde is off as well. Out Nuri, the left wing-back, is on for Wolves, so it suggests a change of shape for Wolves to try and shore up this victory. 70 minutes on the clock. It's West Brom 0, Wolves 1.
Straight into the AFC Champions. Oh, it's the AFC, not Champions Cup, is it? The AFC Asian Cup. Getting ahead of myself there. But they'd love to be champions, wouldn't they, Australia? They're heading towards the quarterfinals. Richard Bond, is there any resistance from Indonesia in the latter stages?
Unfortunately not. It's Australia who are really pushing on the pressure, looking for a third, looking to get their 2015 crown back, and they came close to finishing the game off with Nathaniel Atkinson, who drove left from 25 yards, just shy of the right-hand post. Not much from Indonesia. They've got 5 minutes to get back into this run, but it's looking pretty unlikely at the moment, though. Australia 2, Indonesia 0.
Thank you very much for that, Richard. Straight across to France now. Montpellier against Lille. Any chance of a goal, Ryan Benjamin?
Yeah, 10-man Lille looking quite good in possession. They're looking to extend their 11-game unbeaten run against Montpellier. They've won at the Stade de la Maison for the last 5 occasions. and the home side will be looking to put an end to that awful run of form they've had against today's opponents. It's still 0-0, no real chances. 56 minutes gone, Montpellier 0, Lille 0.
Thank you very much. Let's go for the first time this afternoon, since kickoff at least, to the Abanca Balados. Luke Charlton is watching Celta Vigo against Girona in La Liga.
Yes, it's still 0-0 here in the first 10 minutes. It's been a fairly cagey affair, I'd start with. I mean, Girona have dominated the ball as expected, particularly with their push here for knowing that if they can win the match, that they can go back to the summit of La Liga. But at the moment, they haven't really had any opportunity to create any real quality to test Vicente Guaita in the Celta Vigo goal. But I'm sure it'll come, and you can always come back to me later on if I have any updates on a goal. But as it stands now, it's Celta Vigo 0, Girona 0 with 13 minutes gone.
Thank you very much for that, Luke. I'm sure we'll be back to you, hopefully, with some goals in those games in France and also in Spain that haven't produced a goal so far. Still early doors, of course, in that game that's just kicked off in Spain. Let's head to Shepherd's Bush now, shall we? In the heart of West London. That is the home of Queen's Park Rangers. They are taking on Huddersfield Town this afternoon. And the person who's going John's trying to confuse me by playing a jingle with me here in error. But watching this one for us, it's a big relegation six-pointer at Loftus Road. It's the one and only Pat Norak. Good afternoon, Pat. Hello, Pat. Can you hear us? No, he's not there at the moment, Pat. I think I tell you what, in the press facilities there at Loftus Road, you do get a decent cup of tea. So I reckon Pat's made the most of that, and he's gone off and got himself a nice cup of tea. And I don't blame him. Let's go to the Hawthorns, where there's been a bit of fisticuffs, a few altercations, and a yellow card. It's all getting a little bit tempered, isn't it, Jack Hesson?
Yeah, temper's certainly starting to flare here. It was Matthias Cunha on the left-hand side. He had the better of Bartley. Bartley just clatters into him, takes the foul and a yellow card. Dawson had something to say to him after, but a deserved booking for Bartley there. 73 minutes on the clock. It's West Brom 0, Wolves 1.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, no greed for anybody, but Australia are getting greedy now, aren't they? Australia have got a third goal. It's Australia 3, Indonesia 0 in the Asian Cup playoff, and Australia now certainly through with just a couple of minutes to go, and it's looking like an easy win there for Australia. Australia 3, Indonesia 0. We'll be across to Richard Bond in a couple of moments to hear about that one. In the meantime, Pat Norak has gone down and got his cup of tea. He's back in his seat. He's got his feet up on the desk, and he can tell us all about the team news. And the big game in the Championship in West London is QPR against Huddersfield Town. Good afternoon to you, Pat.
Yeah, second taker. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, this is a big one, actually. If QPR wins, they go above Huddersfield and dump Huddersfield in the bottom three. If Huddersfield win, of course, they then create a point gaps between the bottom three. Like you say, it's a 6 points. With regard to teams, let's go to QPR first. They won their last game away 2-0 to Millwall, so they stay as you were. And with regard to Huddersfield, they make one change from last time they were out. They drew against Blackburn, if my memory serves me correctly. They play a 3-5-2. Now, we won't mess up formations, okay? So one change for them is Corona comes in for Budovic, and that's it, really. So I'm looking forward to this one. And, you know, every time I think about Queen's Park Rangers, what I think about Rodney Marsh, you know, Les Ferdinand, Stan Bowles and Trevor Sinclair and all these players. Looking forward to this one.
Ah, yes, Rodney Marsh. I spoke to him a couple of years ago on Christmas Eve. I was doing an interview with him on a show over in America he was hosting. That was very interesting. Lovely guy he is too. Let's get across to Jack Hesson at the Hawthorns, where West Bromwich Albion have come close to finding a way back into this game.
Yeah, close but not close enough for West Brom. It was John Swift on the edge of the area. He takes a great hit. It looks almost destined for the top left-hand corner, and it just goes about a yard over the bar, nearly sent the Hawthorns into delirium. West Brom knocking at the door now, 76 minutes on the clock. It's still West Brom 0, Wolves 1.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, I can tell you that Australia have just scored a 4th goal. They left it a little bit late, but have now scored 4 goals. And they're through to the quarterfinals. I can tell you something else.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Wolverhampton Wanderers are going to be in the draw in a couple of hours' time for the FA Cup 5th round because they have gone and scored a 2nd goal at the Hawthorns. West Brom 0, Wolves 2. We'll be across to Jack Hesson in a minute to hear about that goal. Quickly off to Qatar. So Richard Bond can tell us all about that goal from Australia.
Well, I'll tell you about the 2 goals very quick, if I can. Right, Craig Goodwin scored the first one. It was a lovely little ball in from the right-hand side. Martin Boyle's cross in, headed by Jackson Irvine, saved for the keeper. Came out for Craig Goodwin to tap home, then followed by Harry Souttar. Then minutes later, from a free kick into the box, Harry Souttar just flicks on the header, goes straight into the back of the net. Game over. 4-0 here, convincing for Australia. Australia 4, Indonesia 0.
Thank you very much for that, Richard. So West Bromwich Albion against Wolves, big local derby. 2nd goal for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Telling us all about it, Jack Hesson.
Yeah, West Brom were knocking at the door and Wolves have just slammed it right in their face. A long ball, so simple for Wolves on that right-hand side from Max Kilman. Beats the entire West Brom defence. Matheus Cunha pounces on the end of it and from a tight angle finishes to the bottom left-hand corner. Excellent finish from the Brazilian Matheus Cunha, and it should see Wolves go through to the next round in the Black Country Derby. It's 80 minutes on the clock. West Brom 0, Wolves 2.
Thank you very much, Jack. So it's looking good for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And 2-0 up, Matheus Cunha with the 2nd goal. Villa have got a goal back in the WSL. Rachel Daly with a penalty. It's now Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 1, Lee Sports Village. Harry Souttar and Craig Goodwin with those 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes to give Australia some icing on the cake and then a few cherries as well. They are on their way through to the last 8 of the AFC Asian Cup. Should be a good one, that. Starting to get to the business end now. Some great games coming up in that competition. Saudi Arabia or South Korea are awaiting Australia in the last 4.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you, in Spain, Girona, they are a force to be reckoned with. Watch out, Barcelona. They could be 10 points ahead of you come the end of the day today after Barcelona let in 5 goals in a defeat again last night against Villarreal. They're ahead. Girona, it's Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1. Porto after 20 minutes. And we'll be across to Luke Charlton, who can tell us all about that goal at the Abanca Balados very, very soon. The game is paused at the Hawthorns at the moment, and it's because there is fighting between West Brom fans and maybe a Wolves fan that's got into the home end. We're not clear. We're not getting an indication from the television pictures. We are now, actually. It looks like a corner of the ground, which is as far away as you can from the Wolverhampton Wanderers end. It looks like there's a Wolves fan in amongst it all there, and it's all got pretty unsavoury. Police using batons, it seems. It looks quite ugly from what I'm hearing. So, yes, play has been suspended at the moment. Let's get across to Jack Hesson and see if he can give us any more information. Jack, unsavoury. It was always going to be touching the lighting the blue touch paper. There you go. I've got a blooper coming up now. And you know, even kicking off at 11:30, it's got its fraught problems, and it seems to be kicking off in the crowd there, doesn't it, at the Hawthorns?
Yeah, it's not looking like good scenes here. It looks like, as you mentioned, as far away for the Wolves fans as you really could get. The bottom left-hand corner of the main stand, it looks like supporters from the left-hand side, attacking from the left-hand side where West Brom came from that stand towards the main stand. There's still fans there at the moment, as you mentioned, using batons, but it's really not clear. The only thing I could really see is potentially the case where a group of Wolves fans are in the home end, and obviously with the goal they may have got, they may have shown up after the goal, could be the case. But still not clear at the moment, and we're still not underway yet. 82 minutes on the clock. It's West Brom 0, Wolves 2.
Yeah, 8 minutes to go, and the Wolves fans at the other end are just singing away, and the Wolves players are now making their way down the tunnel. It's all getting quite interesting now. Until the final whistle has gone, Australia 4, Indonesia 0. We'll head to Richard Bond for a full-time report in just a second. First of all, let's hear about their goal in Spain. Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1. They're at it again. Luke Charlton.
Yes, it's only taken them 20 minutes to open the scoring in this game here. It was slightly against the run of players. Celta Vigo just had a brilliant chance themselves, but eventually the ball found Porto in the area and he was able to tuck home into the bottom left corner, out past the outstretched Vicente Guaita. Brilliant build-up play from Miguel Gutierrez, but Girona here leading, certainly deservedly so with the amount of opportunities they've created so far. But with 23 minutes gone, it's now Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1.
Excellent, and straight to Richard Bond, who can give us a full-time report from the game in the AFC Asian Cup. No surprises here, no Maidstone sizable upsets, an easy passage through to the last 8 for Australia. Richard Bond.
Yeah, very comfortable for Australia. Full-time here, it's a resounding victory. They've won by 4-0 against Indonesia. 2 in each half for the Socceroos, with an own goal, Martin Boyle, Craig Goodwin and Harry Suter scoring that very late goal in stoppage time on the score sheet, as the 2015 champions move on to the last 8 to face either South Korea or Saudi Arabia. Indonesia huffed and puffed, but couldn't really make an impression on their higher ranked rivals, but they've done their country proud to get this far in the competition for the first time. However, today it finished here, Australia 4, Indonesia 0.
Seems to be the word on the street is that a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan, or Wolverhampton Wanderers fans, are in the West Bromwich Albion end, which does bring to my attention the fact that it's taken to the 82nd minute for anyone to realise that, and suddenly it's kicked off. If Wolves had scored 2 goals in this game, surely they would have got up and celebrated. But anyway, it's all kicking off there at the moment. Both sets of players have now been taken off the field. The referee's standing pitch side by the tunnel to await instruction from the safety officer at West Bromwich Albion Football Club. According to the UK TV sources, Wolves fans have got into the home end and it kicked off after the second Wolves goal. Fans trying to pull police all over the place as well, by the sounds of it. Just trying to get to the bottom of it all. Fans trying to pull police off the fans as they're trying to get out of the ground. It's really all unsavoury. It's unnecessary. It's not what we want to see in football. We want to see a good, entertaining cup tie. And unfortunately, this local derby has been taken over for all the wrong reasons. So, we've heard from Richard Bond. Australia are through. We've heard from Jack Hesson, and the game has become 2-0 now to Wolverhampton Wanderers, thanks to that goal from Kuna. They're going through to the next round. Let's get around the grounds, shall we? Montpellier against Lille. We haven't been there for a while. Ryan Benjamin is watching this one. He's had himself a red card to tell us about, but so far no goals. Montpellier not making the most of that one-man advantage at the moment, Ryan Benjamin.
No, not at all. Montpellier are really playing into Lille's hands here. They've had 4 bookings in the space of about 6 minutes. They keep giving away lots of needless fouls and free kicks. Wabi Kazri was getting hot under the collar. He's been subbed. The game's very stop-start, and that plays right into Lille's hands, so I think we're taking 0-0 right now if you offered it to them. Montpellier need to just relax, play the football they were playing in the first half, and hopefully create some chances, because at the moment, this is just perfect for Lille, and the game's slipping away from Montpellier a little bit. Nearly 70 minutes gone, Montpellier 0, Lille 0.
Thank you very much for that. Let's head back to the Hawthorns. Jack Hesson was watching West Bromwich Albion against Wolves. Wolves 2-0 to the good, but the game has been halted because of crowd trouble. Wolves fans in the West Brom end, and it's still not looking as if the two sets of players are coming out any time soon. Any more news you can give us on this one, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, news has not really been coming through. As you mentioned, the game has been interrupted. It appears the case that it was a Wolves supporter in the home end, which I imagine was exposed after the second goal, and tempers just started flaring after that. It's really been boiling up the full game. I mean, there was an instant around about the 60th minute where a Wolves player was taking a corner. There was a glass bottle thrown at them in that instance. You can tell the tempers between the two sets of supporters. So it was incredibly surprising when we seen that it wasn't anywhere near the Wolves end. It was more towards the far end corner. And yeah, the game's still paused at the moment, and we're still currently waiting for more details to come about. It's still West Brom 0, Wolves 2, and we're not sure when we're going to be starting up again here.
Yes, all very interesting. We'll be back to Jack Hesson. Hopefully the football will return soon. It's so unfortunate when you've got a big cup tie, local derby, and it turns into something like that. Kick-off at Queen's Park Rangers against Huddersfield is underway there. We'll be across to Pat Norette in good time. That is a big game in the Championship, as Pat said earlier, because QPR with a win would drag Huddersfield into the bottom three, and they would move out of the bottom three. Still a lot of football to be played in the Championship, but you would get the feeling that Rotherham look as good as gone down at the bottom. One of these two, if not both of them, could well be in trouble and potentially slipping down to League One next season. Not so long ago, they were playing in the Premier League, of course, Queen's Park Rangers and Huddersfield Town. Talking of Premier League, an all Premier League tie yesterday in the FA Cup, and it produced a whole load of goals. Sheffield United 2, Brighton 5. Brighton had it again. Tell you what, they could be a good bet for the Cup if they get a good draw. Brighton and Hove Albion, remember Arsenal out, Tottenham out, quite a few of these big names out. No one will want to be drawing Brighton in the draw later on in the show. We'll try and bring that draw to you as and when it unfolds, but no one will want to be playing Brighton and Hove Albion. Here is the Seagulls boss, the Seagulls head coach, Roberto De Zerbi.
We didn't concede goal in the last two games, and today we scored 5 goals, but and we are happy for it. But in the same way, we are sad for with 2 goals we conceded. I think we can improve in the situation we conceded goal. We didn't suffer nothing in the first half, and it's not fair the 2-2 in the half time. And for it, we can improve, and we have to work better. We have to work harder.
Yes, indeed. Is it me, or is his English getting slightly better? I'm understanding him better now. Maybe we should get him on the show a little bit more often. That's Roberto De Zerbi. No one will want to be playing Brighton in the 5th round of the FA Cup. That is for sure. Just got a tweet in saying what a football match this was before the trouble. Free-flowing passion, big tackles, full away end behind the goal. None of the rubbish from the Premier League that serves up nowadays with VAR and over-refereeing games. It's been a good, honest cup tie until one or two idiots intervene, and absolutely right as well. West Brom against Wolves still suspended, and we will be across to our reporter in that game, Jack Hesson, very soon, probably after the break, because we're going to go to a break now, which was going to be steered by the final whistle at that game at the Hawthorns. Of course, it's not now. We will be heading back to FJ and the team in just a few moments' time. Let's quickly recap on what's happened so far in the show. Australia 4, Indonesia 0, and they are through to the last 8 of the AFC Asian Cup. West Brom 0, Wolves 2. There's 8 minutes to go in that game. It's been stopped because of crowd trouble. Montpellier 0, 10-man Lille 0, and Girona could be going back to the top in Spain. They lead 1-0 in the first half against Celta Vigo. Let's head back to FJ and the team at Brilla FM. We'll be back very soon, right here on Football Live.
By NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Well, we built up the West Bromwich Albion against Wolves game as being a battle of fights, but what we didn't expect is the game that would be stopped because of a fight in the crowd. Let's get across to Jack Hesson for a quick chat with him. Jack, it looks like the 2 sets of players are just starting to emerge into the tunnel area. From what I'm hearing on the official statements are that some of the West Bromwich Albion players' families are in the section very close to where this is all happening, so there's a concern for the likes of Carl Bartley there, who's wading into the crowd, trying to get his family to make sure they're safe. So there is a concern across the playing staff of both teams. But has anything else come across that you've heard from this situation at the Hawthorns that stopped the play?
Well, as you mentioned, the players looking to appear to come out. We did find out that we would know within the next 10 minutes if the game was going to carry on. It's still not 100% certain if that is the case. As you mentioned, a really distressing moment. It was an area of the stadium even where, as you mentioned, there was the players' families. Kyle Bartley was on the park on the park with his daughter. So yeah, I can see that is, I think, what the concern was, that instant happened just to the left-hand side of the main stand next to the Birmingham end at Hawthorns, and that was the main concern. But we're not getting any clarification at the moment. We're to find out in the next 10 minutes if this game will carry on. The Wolves players in the tunnel, but still all up in the air at the moment whether this game's going to continue.
Thanks, Jack. We'll be right across that. Of course, if it does continue, these two sets of players are going to need a warm-up. We'll be off to Anfield very soon to hear exclusive team news. Jurgen Klopp picking his first team since announcing that he will be leaving the club at the end of the season. They take on Norwich City this afternoon. Molly Sumter is going to be there with some team news very soon. But first of all, let's get to a couple of games that are currently taking place. Ryan Benjamin has seen a red card for Lille in the first half. Lille have gone and then taken the lead despite being down to 10 men, but VAR has intervened at the Stade de la Mossa Mondial. Ryan Benjamin.
Yeah, it was a good VAR call. Yusuf Yelchi ran into the area and he was about a yard offside when the ball fell to him. He slotted it away nicely, but Lille generally have controlled the game pretty well in the second half despite being down to 10 men. Montpellier really haven't made the most of their advantage, and their winless run against Lille looks set to continue into a 12th game. This attritional Ligue 1 game, is coming into injury time. Montpellier 0, Lille 0.
Yes, 3 minutes of injury time. It's just been confirmed in that game in France. Montpellier 0, 10-man Lille 0. Lille having a goal chalked off by VAR. Let's get across to Pat Norrett, who's watching the big game in the Championship. Queen's Park Rangers against Huddersfield Town. And an early substitution required from the home side, Pat.
Yeah, an injury to their right back, which is Reggie Cannon, the American. His right back got injured. And what's happened now, Aaron Drew's come on right hand side. So no change really. But I could say to you, it's a game of free kicks. You got, I think Huddersfield had 6 free kicks for them. And then you've got QPR now catching them up there about 4. So the play's breaking down quite a lot. There's a lot riding on it, and tackles are going in. We've had 2 bookings already. Hellick's been booked for Huddersfield for a bad tackle on Armstrong. Someone else has gone down now. Blair's gone down as well because of the wing on the left-hand side. Tackles are going in, and that's why the fixtures have come in. No clear-cut chances yet. With 19 gone, still QPR 0, Huddersfield 0.
West Bromwich Albion and Wolverhampton Wanderers players are out on the field and going through warm-ups. As a drilled warm-up for the West Bromwich Albion players. The Wolves players are now just starting to line up and go through a few drills with their fitness coaches. The Wolves players are also speaking to the match officials that are out there. It looks like this game is going to be finished. We'll be across to Jack Hesson in just a few minutes' time. Let's get across. We'll go to Luke Charlton in just a second to hear about the half-time score at Celta Vigo against Girona. First of all, let's head to Anfield for the first time this afternoon. Molly Sumter is watching this one. It's Liverpool against Norwich City, and all eyes, of course, Molly, are on a certain Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, Barry. Liverpool's celebrations of reaching a record-extending 14th Carabao Cup final in midweek will have been cut short in devastating fashion with the shocking announcement, as you said, that their beloved manager Jurgen Klopp will step down at the end of the season. However, there is still time for Klopp and company to make many more memories at Liverpool before the end of the season, starting with the hunt for another cup final where they take on Championship side Norwich City today in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Team news is as follows today, starting with Liverpool. Keeping Alisson between the sticks, they have made a change, dropping Trent Alexander-Arnold down to the bench and replacing him with Connor Bradley. The remainder of the defence remains the same from that win at Arsenal, with Konate, Kansa and Gomez as a back line. Curtis Jones remains in midfield, but McAllister makes way for Ryan Gravenberch, and Harvey Elliott makes way for youngster James McConnell in midfield as well. The front three is pretty similar. The only change for them is Luis Diaz dropping down to the bench. Otherwise, Jota taking his place. Nunez and Gakpo is that attacking front three. Changes for Norwich. There's 4 of them today, with Bata being replaced by Grant Hanley, Sorensen dropping to the bench for Marcelo Nunez, and Jonathan Rowe, who has had links this week with West Ham, making way for Fasnacht, and Ashley Barnes taking place of Adam Ida, who has scored many a goal for Norwich this season. A few interesting changes for them, but as we know, the FA Cup often produces magic, so who knows what kind of afternoon we'll be in for. Kick-off just under 40 minutes away. It's Liverpool against Norwich.
Thank you very much, Molly. We'll be back to you very soon. We'll have a chat before kick-off. Liverpool taking on Norwich City. Can Norwich do what Maidstone did yesterday and cause the upset of all upsets in the FA Cup this afternoon? It's going to be a big one, that at Anfield, and we will of course have it right covered here on Football Live. Let's head back to let's go to Spain, shall we, in the Abanca Balaidos. Celta Vigo taking on Girona. The half-time whistle has blown for Luke Charlton.
Yes, it's half-time here, and it's Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1. Only one real moment of quality for either side, ultimately, which was the Porto goal, which was scored early in the half in the 20th minute after excellent work from Miguel Gutierrez. After that, though, however, it was all Celta Vigo. They had multiple chances through Hogstrand Larsen and Iago Aspas with some excellent saves from Paulo Gazzaniga, but it remains with Girona in the lead at half-time. It's still Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, let's go. We've heard there from Luke. Celta Vigo against Girona at half-time. Let's hear from Ryan Benjamin in the game. We've heard from Ryan Benjamin, rather. I beg your pardon. We've heard from Ryan Benjamin. Montpellier 0. Let's go back to him. That is a final score now, I'm just hearing. Yes, so Montpellier against Lille. Let's go back to Ryan Benjamin. Sorry, confusing myself here, let alone everyone listening to Briller FM this afternoon. Stade de la Motion Mondial, Montpellier against Lille, and Ryan Benjamin. It's all over.
Yes, full time at the Stade de la Motion. Montpellier will be a bit disappointed that they couldn't take advantage of the red card to Ayoub Bouadi. It changed the game, but not in the way that Montpellier would like. They were rallying quite well in the end of the first half there, but they just couldn't get into it in the second half. And Lille will take a point. It keeps them in touch with those Champions League places. As for Montpellier, well, they're still looking over their shoulder. They could be as low down as 14th today before the results go against them. A difficult season continues with a 0-0 draw, failure to beat Lille again for 12 games now. They haven't beaten Lille. Lille, as I say, will take this 0-0. They'll move on to the next game, and it ends 0-0. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Ryan. So, so we've covered those two games in France and in Spain. We're going to go next to our featured game at the Hawthorns. Jack Hesson should be able to keep us up to date with this one. We're seeing pictures and even footage coming out of the Hawthorns on social media of what's been going on. I've just seen a clip of all the Wolves fans celebrating, and it looks to be a West Brom fan in amongst the Wolves fans with his arms folded and he's shaking his head. It just looks to be something that's just not been, not say policed well, but for fans to be getting tickets in the wrong parts of the ground, it's a recipe for disaster in a local derby like this, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, it's nasty scenes, and as you mentioned, there'll definitely be an inquiry into how on earth there was supporters from one section in the wrong stand and vice versa. I mean, you noticed that there was what we've seen across the main stand when the incident happened is that all the police were down at the Wolves end, so they had to rush right across the main stand to get to the incident that was happening in the far left-hand corner, because obviously they didn't assume that something like that could happen. You mentioned there about the images of it appeared to be a Wolves supporter battered and bruised going across and being taken away across the Wolves end. That looked like an incident near the Wolves end, next to that area between the away end and the home section of fans. It looks like we're going to be getting underway here, but again, just waiting for that official confirmation. at the moment, 82 minutes on the clock. We're still ready to get going and get started again. It's West Brom 0, Wolves 2.
Yes, thank you very much, Jack. It does look like West Bromwich Albion are just making a couple of substitutions. Cole Bartley coming off, Callum Taylor coming on, and a couple of changes for the home side, but they've got 8 minutes to score 2 goals, and that's just to take it to a replay. Let's get, for the first time this afternoon, across to Mark Thomas, who is watching the game between Union Berlin and Darmstadt. That's in the Bundesliga. Big game, this one. To bring us the team news, here's Mark Thomas.
Yes, it is a big game. It's a big relegation battle going on here today at the Ander Alten Forsyth Stadium. Union Berlin against Darmstadt 98. Union Berlin, they make 2 changes, Barry. Haberer and Volland are out. Haberer is on the bench. Volland isn't in the squad. And in comes Andrej Schaefer and Kevin Burra. For Darmstadt, Majica, the Croatian, he's out in the centre-back position, taking his place. Will be Klaus Gazala today. Darmstadt haven't won in 11 games, Barry, so it's a real relegation battle, and both teams will want full points today.
Thank you very much, Mark. Looking forward to that one. That should be a really good game in the Bundesliga. Union Berlin against Darmstadt. Both sides know that that is big for them in the Stadion an der Forestieri this afternoon. Mark will be with us throughout the rest of the show to bring us bang up to date with that game that kicks off at 3:30 in just over half an hour's time. The sun is shining and the football is back, I'm pleased to say, in the Black Country derby between West Bromwich Albion and Wolves. They're back underway. There is a reset of the clock. There's just over 12 minutes to go. It's West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolves 2, and Wolves on the attack looking for a 3rd goal at the moment as we speak. Let's get back to West London in the Championship. Massive game, this one as well. Queen's Park Rangers against Huddersfield Town. And watching it for us, Pat Norette.
Yeah, very sunny here as well. If at the end of this game, right, if it was decided on fouls at the moment, because UPR's on 6 and Huddersfield on 7, not much football happening because both teams are cancelling each other out. Not very clear goals. It's that QPR trying to play their football and basically Huddersfield not letting them. And Armstrong is causing so much problem up top for QPR. With 29 gone, no clear chances. Still QPR 0, Huddersfield 0.
Thanks very much, Pat. Wow, it's all happening this afternoon, isn't it? Australia through to the last day of the AFC Asian Cup. They've wiped the floor with Indonesia, 4-0 at the Al Sadd Stadium in Qatar. West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolves 2, around about 10 minutes or so to play, and that game's just restarted because of crowd trouble. We'll be back to Jack Hesson in just a few minutes' time. Montpellier 0, 10-man, Lille 0 is a result in France. And no goals in that particular game. Unfortunately, Lille down to 10 men. Girona leading at Celta Vigo 1-0 at half-time and heading towards the top, the summit in La Liga in Spain. QPR 0, Huddersfield 0, as we just heard. Liverpool against Norwich, Watford against Southampton, Union Berlin against Darmstadt, all to come very soon. We hope to be getting some team news from Vicarage Road. Watford against Southampton. 2 teams in good form in the Championship. It should be a good game, this one as well. Liverpool against Norwich. Really looking forward to that one. And Union Berlin against Darmstadt. Let's quickly go back to Shepherd's Bush, to Loftus Road. Pat Norette can tell us about a chance for Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah, first chance, first shot up goal. It was a ball from the right-hand side. Chair got hold of it on the left-hand side. It come in on his right foot, took a shot, and the goalie saved it. That is the first chance at goal. So with what are we, 30 gone, still QPR 0, Huddersfield 0.
Thank you very much, Pat. Now, yesterday, a great win for Luton Town. A last-minute winner away at Everton. They won there in the league back in August. They've gone and won there in the Cup, and they're through to the last 16. Rob Edwards, delighted that he didn't need a replay to see off Sean Dyche's men.
Yeah, pleased. Just pleased to be in the next round. It's a competition we really value, one that we really want to progress in and go as far as possible. So so proud of the lads, so pleased for everyone today to come through it. So just a credit to the lads, the staff that put a lot of time and effort into them, and you know, the players really value them. But I do think we had some other really big chances from open play today, and we probably should have taken 1 or 2 of those as well. You know, it doesn't really matter how they come as long as we get them.
So Luton Town into the hat for the draw, which takes place later on this afternoon. Hoping to join them is their arch enemy just down the road, Watford. They're taking on Southampton. It's just kicking off, and joining us for the first time this afternoon. It's a very good afternoon to Football Live's Jurgen Klopp.
Good afternoon, Barry, and good afternoon to the listeners. I'll give a brief rundown on the team news. The match has kicked off between Watford and Southampton at Vicarage Road. The main notable change for Watford is that Tom Dele Bashiru, the Nigerian midfielder who could have been in the AFCON with Nigeria winning yesterday, he's on the bench today. He actually scored one of the goals that helped Watford get to this FA Cup fourth round stage. But he's on the bench, replaced by Martins. Southampton have made 9 changes. The most notable changes is that Alcaraz and Mara are in for Fraser and Armstrong. Southampton are actually unbeaten in their last 9 away games versus Watford, so Watford will be looking to break that jinx today in the FA Cup. About 2 minutes gone, Watford 0, Southampton 0.
Thank you very much, Jordan. Just to bring you up to date, Watford is kicking off right now, 3 o'clock kickoff, 3:30. So in just under half an hour, Liverpool against Norwich City, and that is when Union Berlin kick off against Darmstadt. Let's get back to the Hawthorns. The game finally underway. The sun is shining. Jack Hessen, have West Brom left it a little bit too late?
Yeah, thankfully the football is back underway. I think there is still time for them here with just 82 minutes on the clock, potentially some added time as well for them to grab a couple of goals, which is what they need to force this game into replay. They've dominated most of the possession since the restart, but Wolves throughout the game, and really it has been the story of the game, look dangerous on the counter and have been really effective in that instance. But West Brom really just need one goal to try and get back in this game, and it'll make it an interesting last few minutes. 82 minutes on the clock. It's West Brom 0, Wolves 2.
Thank you very much, Jack. So there you have it. West Brom not out just yet, but they're going to need to strike very quickly. They are currently on the attack. We'll keep a close eye on that one. Manchester United women have beaten Aston Villa women 2-1 at the Lee Sports Village. Leicester City are leading at Everton in the WSL thanks to a goal just after half-time from Janice Cayman. That would be a good result for Leicester City, who started the season very well. Second half is just getting underway in our featured game in Spain between Celta Vigo and Girona. Last night in Spain, of course, Barcelona losing 5-3 at home to Villarreal. 2-0 down, 3-2 up, and then they lost the game 5-3. Plenty of goals in that game. I said to you earlier on, I was expecting a really good game between Watford and Southampton. What I didn't expect was a goal so very, very quickly.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you, it's gone to Watford. Watford 1, Southampton 0. A little bit of a shock there. After just 4 minutes, Matthias Martins has gone and grabbed a goal for the Hornets, who lead the Saints 1-0 this afternoon. We'll be back with Jordan Okole very, very soon to bring you up to date with that goal at Vicarage Road. Watford 1, Southampton 0 in the FA Cup this afternoon. Shall we go across to Anfield and speak to Molly Sumter? I think that's probably a good idea. We can talk about Jurgen Klopp, can't we? Let's bring in Molly Sumter, who's going to be watching the game this afternoon between... In fact, I tell you what, we're not going to go there. We're going to quickly go to Watford. Sorry, poor old John, the producer. We like to keep him on his toes. Let's go to Watford quickly and get news of that goal. Jordan Okole, early goal for Watford.
Early goal for Watford, a fantastic start for Watford. It was a free kick. Matthias Martins lined it up. Everyone thought he was going to cross this one in, I think. But no, he went for a near post finish, caught the goalkeeper cold, and he just put it in. A fantastic free kick. Great start for Watford, who don't often play well against Southampton. But if they can keep playing like this, they might break the jinx today and get a win against Southampton and push on. So at Vicarage Road, it's Watford 1, Southampton 0.
Thank you very much for that, Jordan Colai. Watford 5 unbeaten, Saints 21 unbeaten. The last two meetings between those two have ended in draws, but the Saints unbeaten in 9 visits to Vicarage Road. It is usually a happy hunting ground for them, but so far this afternoon it hasn't been. From one FA Cup tie that's just got underway to an FA Cup tie that will soon be getting underway. And Molly Sumter can join us now from Anfield. Good afternoon again to you, Molly. Obviously the big news on Friday, Jurgen Klopp coming out and saying, look, I'm going to be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. This is their first game since that announcement. What's the feeling and the atmosphere around Anfield this afternoon?
I think very much as you would expect, Barry. The fans a little bit shaken. I can imagine the players are feeling a little bit shaky too. It was a completely unprecedented announcement. I know a lot of fans, particularly over social media, very much voicing their disappointment and their sadness that Klopp is going to be leaving them at the end of the season. He has had a fantastic run with the club. He's been there for 9 years. I think the reasoning he gave in his video statement was that he is running out of energy. So at least, I guess, for Liverpool fans, it's not any sense of a dispute between himself and the club. He very much outlined how much he loves Liverpool and loves being with the club, but just a few maybe underlying personal issues which are causing him to need to step back. I think I found a stat earlier, Barry, that says he's played 317 Premier League matches with Liverpool. He's won 199 of them, won 74, and across 9 seasons, managed just 44 losses with the team, 675 goals scored. I think that really, those stats really show testament to how good and how impactful of a manager he's been here at Anfield.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Molly. We will be back to you very soon with the kick-off just around the corner. It's Liverpool against Norwich City. Obviously, we've had that delay of some 25 minutes or so in the game between West Bromwich Albion and Wolves. A couple of minutes to go in this. Let's get across to the Hawthorns again. Jack Hesson. Time very much running out now for West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, time is running out and they're not really doing much going forward to really justify any kind of comeback with just minutes left on the clock. 88 minutes on the clock. In fact, the game seems relatively calmed down from where we were about 50 minutes ago in game time, but really about half an hour ago in real time. West Brom, as I mentioned, dominating possession since the restart, trying to find something going forward, but they can't get any clear-cut chances at the moment. 88 minutes on the clock. It's still West Brom 0, Wolves 2.
Thanks very much for that, Jack. We will be catching up with you between now and the end of the game, I'm sure. West Brom 0, Wolves 2. The FA Cup draw for the 5th round is coming up very soon, I understand. Although it's a little bit up in the air at the moment. It's between the end of the West Brom game and the beginning of the Liverpool game this afternoon. We'll keep a close eye on that. And of course, if it does materialise, that draw, you will be the first to know right here. Who do Maidstone want? Ask George Elokobi, and he would probably tell you, like he did in the previous round, in the 4th round draw, he will want the old club Wolverhampton Wanderers to come out the hat against Maidstone United. He's not that bothered about the Manchester Uniteds and the Liverpools and the Chelseas. He just wants Wolves. The game going on at Molineux. Let's go back to Jack Hesson. Chances both ends, Jack. And I'm looking at the pictures in front of me here, and all I can see are stewards and police officers taking up a band all around the pitch. They're not letting anyone near that playing surface. It's being policed in high numbers, isn't it? And Wolverhampton Wanderers are on their way through to the 5th round of the FA Cup, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, as you can imagine, especially when a Wolves player takes that corner right in front of the West Brom supporters, all on top of them, right next to the Wolves end as well. It's a dangerous area of the stadium, that's for certain, and there's hundreds of police with essentially riot gear as well, trying to block off the West Brom supporters from and allowing Wolves to take that corner. Some good chances there. There was one for Tom Fellows getting the ball into Peters in the middle. It was a good save by Jose San, a great save there by Josh Griffiths, the West Brom goalkeeper, to deny Cunha a second goal in this game. But 2 minutes of added time, we're looking like this will be the settled result here. West Brom 0, Wolves 2.
Thanks very much, Jack. Yeah, we're just into 2 minutes of added time, halfway through that, in fact, now. So the final whistle is imminent there, and the police and the stewards are surrounding most of the pitch perimeter at the moment to ensure there is no further trouble in that game, which, of course, was suspended for a right long length of time because of crowd trouble. We suspect a Wolves fan in the West Brom end. We've also seen evidence that there's probably a West Brom fan in the Wolves end. It happens all the time, but when it happens in a heated derby like that, that's when the flashpoint causes a lot of problems, and that is something that does need to be reviewed, of course. Let's head back to Vicarage Road. Jordan Okolo has also been in the thick of cup action this afternoon, the FA Cup. Watford already ahead, but Southampton coming close to an equaliser, Jordan.
Yeah, very close to an equaliser. It was good work on the wing, and the cross was put in towards Alcaraz. It was Dibbling that did the good work on the wing, and he whipped in a great cross, and Alcaraz got his head on it, but just didn't get enough power to really trouble the goalkeeper. But Southampton are starting to show signs of threatening in this game. I don't think this one is over yet. Southampton seem to have woken up, but it's still Watford 1, Southampton 0.
The final whistle has blown at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion 0, Wolves 2. We'll be across to Jack Hesson to get a final update from him very, very shortly. Yesterday, Everton crashed out of the cup, losing at home to Luton Town. Sean Dyche, not a happy man.
Well, it's disappointing. It's awkward when it's the last game, kick of the game, because you've got no time to react. Very unfortunate the way it actually finally goes in. Sani's doing his job on the line. He knocks it out, and it hits their lad and rebounds and all the rest of it. But we didn't need to put ourselves in that situation, I didn't feel. The first one, look, unfortunately, I've got to mention VR again. I don't know what's going on with it, because Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets a clear 2 hands in his back. Of course, everyone will argue, well, it's not a big push in the back, but the fact is we see penalties given. If I touch you on the shoulder, they say it's a foul. So you can't have it all ways. We only want parity. And for me, that's a clear foul. It's a VR. I strongly thought it was going to be turned over. They don't turn it over. We can't seem to get on the right side of VRs at the moment.
Not a happy man, Sean Dyche, as his Everton side crash out of the cup at home to Luton Town yesterday. Cauley Woodrow scoring in the very last minute, and he came off the field afterwards to say to his manager, my hand hurts. Apparently he's broken his hand, so he could be out for quite a few weeks if that is the case, subject to an X-ray. But Cauley Woodrow, the hero for the Hatters yesterday, he doesn't score too many goals, but he got one yesterday, and it's Luton that are into the hat for the draw for the 5th round of the FA Cup. Let's go to Loftus Road. Pat Norrat, chance for Queen's Park Rangers in that big championship game.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes QPR have been on it. Actually, they've been passing the ball around. This was a strange one. It was a long ball kicked forward, and what Armstrong doing, he flicked it, he headed it, flicked it, and went and ran around his own flick and took a shot. It just went wide. But for the last, about 2 minutes left, with injury time as well. QPR coming more into it. They're being allowed to play their football. So if they play like this in the second half, I think we'll get a goal. With 44 gone, still QPR 0, and it's Huddersfield 0.
Half-time just approaching in that game in the Championship. Big game it is too. Let's see where we're at in our games that we are featuring this afternoon. We're keeping a close eye out for the FA Cup draw, which was scheduled to be about now, but all the hype that's been surrounding the game at the Hawthorns means that the FA Cup draw, I'm just being told, has been delayed until half-time at the earliest in the Liverpool game. So that would be 4:20 West African time that we will be getting the FA Cup draw at the very earliest. So we'll try and keep across that for you throughout the afternoon. West Ham have taken the lead in the WSL. Hanika Hayashi with the goal in the French League. Le Havre are leading at Lorient thanks to a goal from Emmanuel Sabi. Tottenham Hotspur ladies are behind against Manchester City at home today. An own goal from Amy Turner in that game. Let's head off now to the game that's taking place in Celta Vigo against Girona, back underway in the second half. Luke Charlton's watching this one at the Abanca Ballet Dos. Still Girona ahead? Are they deservedly ahead, Luke?
Yes, it's still a narrow lead for Girona, and I'd say on the balance of play, particularly in the second half, they're probably lucky to be so. Celta Vigo have definitely come out and started them much stronger in the second half, but the game has descended into a bit of a scrappy affair now, with a couple of yellow cards, one particularly shown to Daley Blind, an experienced defender making a rash tackle that you probably would think would be a little bit of an inconsistency in someone of his experience, his level of play when they're looking for leadership in the game. But as it stands, they're still in the lead, and they do look comfortable, although Celta Vigo are dominating the opportunities. So with 59 minutes gone, it's Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1.
Thank you very much for that update from Spain. Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1. Thanks, Luke Charlton. We'll be back across to you in due course. Half-time is imminent in the game in the Championship. Still, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Huddersfield Town 0. Massive game that is at the bottom. Watford leading Southampton 1-0. Liverpool against Norwich coming up soon, as is Union Berlin against Darmstadt. Big game in the Bundesliga. Wolves have won in the FA Cup away. They're near neighbours. West Brom by 2 goals to nil, a game that has seen lots of crowd trouble at the Hawthorns. Australia 4, Indonesia 0, Montpellier 0, 10-man Lille 0 in our featured game that's finished in Ligue 1 in France. Just waiting for the half-time whistle to blow in the game at Loftus Road, and I can tell you the half-time whistle has now blown in that game at Loftus Road. It's Queen's Park Rangers 0, Huddersfield Town 0. Let's get across to Pat Norat, who can bring us bang up to date with the first 45 minutes.
Oh, very exciting on the fouls, I would say. I won't deal with the fouls, but I think what's happening in this game, there's so much at stake. Both teams are actually cancel each other out. But I would say to you, in the last probably 10 minutes, QPR came into it. They started to play in the football. I just worked out their tactic. They've got Armstrong up front. What they're trying to do is pass the ball around, 4 free passes in the back, and suddenly they launch it down the channel. Now, I don't see many balls down the channel these days, but what Armstrong's doing is running down the channel, trying to get behind the Huddersfield back four, trying to get a goal. But at the moment, at the half-time, it's, of course, QPR 0, Huddersfield 0. Looking forward to the second half.
I think we're all looking forward to the second half, Pat. Thank you very much. You go and get yourself another one of those superb Queen's Park Rangers cups of tea, and they are one of the finest cups of tea, let me tell you, in English football down at Loftus Road. Later on this afternoon, after Maidstone, who wear amber and black, beat Ipswich yesterday, another team that wear amber and black, Newport County of League 2, are at home against Manchester United. Are we about to see yet another big FA Cup shock this afternoon? Well, Graham Coughlin, you've probably never heard of him. He's the manager of Newport County. You're just about to hear from him right now.
Listen, the lads have been brilliant yesterday and today, so it's probably the best they've trained, so I wish we could play Man United every week. But no, listen, it's been great. The town has been buzzing. Anywhere you go, you know, as you quite rightly said, people are speaking and want 2 minutes of your time, so that's brilliant. And it's better that you have it that way than the other way in football, because if people are not patting you on the back in football, are kicking you up the backside. So I'd much rather have a pat on the back than a size 9 up the backside. So yeah, listen, it's great for the town, great for the city, great for the players and the club. I just hope they can go and enjoy the occasion and represent themselves and their families to the best of their ability.
That was Graham Coughlin. I wonder whether Manchester United can stay in the FA Cup this afternoon against Newport County. Newport are in really good form, actually. So, you know, this could be one that could be a shock on the cards. It's Newport County against Manchester United. Newport County on an unbeaten run at the moment, and Manchester United not on the greatest of runs. So who knows? It could be an afternoon of a defining afternoon, I should say, for the Manchester United players and indeed Eric Ten Hag. That's this afternoon, right here on Football Live, right here, right now. Union Berlin against Darmstadt and Liverpool against Norwich City in the FA Cup are just about to get underway in the next, 8 or 9 minutes. Teams will be coming out very soon. It's half-time at QPR, Huddersfield 0-0. We also had a 0-0 in France between Montpellier and Lille. There is a goal in the game in Spain that we're featuring, and Girona would go top if they can win. They have an hour gone, and they are winning at Celta Vigo by 1-0 this afternoon. Elsewhere, West Brom 0, Wolves 2, as we've heard, and Australia 4, Indonesia 0. Tonight, Equatorial Guinea take on Guinea, followed by Egypt against Congo in the AFCON. Of course, you can follow all the action right here with a superb coverage brought to you by the Brilla FM team from the AFCON. That is all coming up later after Football Live right here on Brilla FM. FA Cup draw has been delayed, I am being told, so we will keep an eye out when that will be. In the meantime, let's head back to the one game that is still taking place as we speak. It's in the FA Cup, it's in Hertfordshire, it's at Watford, it's at Vicarage Road. Jordan Nicolai, a chance for Watford to make it 2-0.
Yeah, Watford almost made it 2-0, and it probably should have been 2-0. It was a corner kick taken by Martins, a great cross. He already got the goal, and he almost got an assist. Sierra Alta really should have put it in the back of the net. Was free, he was unmarked, but his header just wasn't accurate enough, but really should have been doing better with how close he was to the goal. But just puts it wide with the target. But the game is definitely livening up. There's definitely more goals in this one. Watford 1, Southampton 0.
Thank you very much for that, Jordan. The teams will be in the tunnel very shortly. You've just seen pictures of two managers embracing one another in the tunnel at Anfield. David Wagner of Norwich City and Jurgen Klopp of Liverpool. Of course, they both hail from Germany and they've come across one another in the past. They know each other quite well. And they've just embraced in the tunnel. Jurgen Klopp announcing on Friday that he will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. And they say Nijmegen have taken a lead thanks to a penalty from Magnus Matsson. 5 minutes in stoppage time in the Eredivisie away at Go Ahead Eagles. And let's go to the Hawthorns and get that full-time report from Jack Hessen.
Yeah, full time at the Hawthorns, a game marred by ugly scenes. The first game since 2012 between these two to have fans in the stadium in the West Midlands place. We'll certainly hope that that's going to be a bit longer till the next one. In terms of the football, it was really a game decided by fine margins, tightly matched affair between these two, and Pedro Neto getting on the end of a counter-attack with a shot in the left-hand corner of the goal to give Wolves the lead. Then into the second half, Max Kilman's ball across the West Brom defence, beats them. Matheus Cunha in on goal and finishes from a tight angle. There was then ugly scenes in the main stand where it appears a Wolves supporter was in the West Brom end, fans rushing towards the main stand to try and confront them. The police involved as well. The game was stopped for about half an hour. We got back underway eventually, and Wolves seen the game out 2-0 to go through to the next round of the FA Cup. Full time at the Hawthorns. It's West Brom 0, Wolves 2.
Thank you very much.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Join round the corner where the big boys play.
Place 10 bets, get one free. You can earn an unlimited number of free bets with NairaBet. No matter which game you're watching right now, feel the thrill with our live match special. For every 10 in-play bets placed, you will receive a 5,000 Naira free bet. Log in to www.nairabet.com. Click on the Live tab. Place 10 in-play bets on different games. Then the free bet is yours. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18. Minimum stake of 5,000 Naira per live bet. Minimum odds of 1.2 per live bet. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
OK, let's get Sean Dyche, the Everton manager, on the telephone. He's just lost 10 points.
Hello?
Sean, how can we improve Football Live?
If you want to get to the depth of real reporting, go around the Premier League and ask all of the Premier League management, and if they give you a boring answer, we'll drive down and we'll slap them with a wet fish.
Are you happy spending a whole day in a car with the Football Live crew?
All day. It'd be much more fun than you asking me about whether we're going to play a 4-4-2. And they go, yeah, he is. Sean Dyche is going to play a 4-4-2.
That is excellent news. Sean Dyche does like Football Live after all. Well, we didn't take the 10 points away from him, did we?
Football Live returns next Saturday on Brila FM when we welcome back the Premier League after its winter break. We are back with a bang in the early kick-off where Everton at Goodison Park take on Ange Postecoglou's high-flying Tottenham Hotspur.
It didn't help us out, and I don't like VAR. I don't like it today either.
Brighton take on Crystal Palace in the M23 derby at the Amex, with the Eagles looking for improvement after a very disappointing January.
Stop it here, shall we? I mean, you're going to be tricky with your questions.
It's top against bottom in Germany in the Bundesliga. Darmstadt are bottom, Bayer Leverkusen are pulling away at the top. It's our featured match in the Bundesliga.
Sowohl auf dem Platz als auch in der Kabine.
Add to the mix Fulham's away trip to Burnley and Newcastle United's home match against Luton Town in the Premier League, and you have an all-action packed show that kicks off at 1:30 next Saturday with Dean Kilford, your Football Live host on Brilla FM, your frequency of champions.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Yeah, teams are out the tunnel at Anfield. Jurgen Klopp taking up his residency once more on the touchline. His captain this afternoon is Virgil van Dijk. Let's hear from him. He was full of praise for the Liverpool manager, who announced on Friday that he will be leaving the club at the end of the season.
You know, it's a hard one to take, because the manager means so much for us, to me, to the club, to the whole Premier League, I think. But yeah, he made a decision for him and his family, and it was always going to be a tough one, and it was definitely the case. Yeah, he told us in private, of course, and all of us were together, and our mindset is to focus on business, and we have a lot of targets still to achieve this year, and why not finish the season, you know, on a high and together with celebrations for the boss as well.
So that was Virgil van Dijk speaking from within the dressing room. His feelings following the announcement on Friday that Virgil van Dijk's manager, Jurgen Klopp, will be leaving. Of course, Van Dijk is the manager. Van Dijk is the captain. He is on the bench today. Alisson is captaining the side. Thank you for correcting me there, Molly. I haven't taken a lot of attention as to who is playing. Plenty of big banners around Anfield as they sing "Never Walk Alone." Big banners saying "Thank you very much, Jurgen." There will be more tributes, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. And who knows, could they win a trophy or two on the way to make it a fairy tale goodbye? We will wait and see. Okay, at Watford, 4 shots, 2 on target for the home side. Southampton have managed just a 1 shot, which was on target. Let's get some of the very latest odds, shall we? Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all the prices are subject to change. Liverpool game is just about to kick off. Liverpool are 1.14 for the win. The draw is 9.0, and Norwich away win is 15.0. If you're looking for some goals, if you think it's going to be over 3.5 goals today, it's 1.67 in fact. Everything is over 4.5 goals, is 2.40. Some of the other games that are happening at the moment, Celta Vigo, Girona. Girona are leading away to Celta Vigo by a goal to nil. Celta are 17.0 to turn it around. The draw is 4.50, and Girona to maintain that lead and win the game is 1.30. In the Dutch Eredivisie, it's still 0-0 between Feyenoord and Twente. Feyenoord are 1.75 for the win. The draw is 3.0 and 7.0 for Twente away win. In France, Stade Reims against Nantes, still 0-0. Reims are 2.5 for the win. The draw is 3.0 and Nantes away win is 4.75. Also, Clermont against Strasbourg, still 0-0 after 30 minutes. Clermont are 3.40 for the win. The draw has just gone down to still 2.75 and 2.62 for Strasbourg away win. In the English FA Cup, it just kicked off. Liverpool, again videos, is the same, hasn't changed yet. Watford, 30 minutes gone, it's Watford 1, Southampton 0. Watford are 1.67 for the win. The draw is 3.80 and Southampton away win is 5.0. Italian Serie A, 30 minutes gone and 2 games here, both 0-0. The first one is Verona and Frosinone. Verona are 2.50 for the win. The draw is 2.88 and Frosinone are 3.50 for the away win. Monza Sassuolo. Monza are 2.30 for the win. The draw has just gone down to 3.0 and Sassuolo are 3.62. Back again to the Liverpool game. Still 0-0 after 2 minutes. Liverpool has just gone up to 1.17. The draw has just gone down to 7.50 and the away win for Norwich has just gone down rapidly to 13.0. So I'm sure Molly can tell us something more about that. But of course, all these prices are from Narabet and it's all subject to change.
Well, I'll tell you what, John, should we go and find out? Let's link up for the first time since kickoff with Molly Sumter at Anfield. It's Liverpool against Norwich, underway in the FA Cup. And Molly, Liverpool, plenty of early possession.
Yeah, definitely. As John said there, Liverpool getting forward a little bit, potentially why the odds have dropped down ever so slightly for them. Liverpool coming out extremely offensive, as you would imagine, in these opening 2 minutes or so. Looking very strong. Jurgen Klopp looking extremely deep in thought, but a great reception, as you would expect, from the fans here at Anfield. About 2.5 minutes gone. It's Liverpool 0, Norwich 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. Let's head to Vicarage Road. Another cup tie underway. An early goal for Watford. Another chance, Jordan Nicolai, for Watford.
Yeah, this chance fell for Asprilla. It was a great step over and then just cut inside. It was a clean shot, but didn't get enough power on it to really trouble the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, Luminia, was able to make a comfortable save, really and truly. But Watford started to show more signs of looking like the better side. Southampton just can't seem to get their passes together, and the home side are starting to look the better. The half chance there for Watford. Still Watford 1, Southampton 0.
In the French League, Imran Loza has equalised for Lorient against Le Havre, 1-1 in that game. Monza ahead at home to Sassuolo in the Serie A in Italy. Monza ahead through Andrea Colpane's goal, giving them the lead. AEK Athens in Greece, 1-0 up against OFI. Ezequiel Ponce with the goal in that game. Okay, right, let's head to our featured game that we've got in the Bundesliga this afternoon. It's a pretty big one at the Stadion an der Forstei, because Mark Thomas, who's watching this, can tell you that Union Berlin and Darmstadt desperately need the points this afternoon, don't they, Mark?
Yes, they both desperately need those points, Barry. Union Berlin in 15th, and of course Darmstadt on the bottom. They've only got 11 points all season. Been a very bright start for Union Berlin. They've already troubled the goalkeeper a couple of times. Bit of a calamity in the first 15 seconds for them in the back, and they were lucky to get away with it. Union definitely on the front foot. Of course, their manager is suspended for 3 games because he punched a player in the last game against Bayern Munich, so he's on the bench. They've got their coach Humic in his place today. After 3 minutes, it is still 0-0.
Thank you very much. Yes, of course, he landed one on Sane, didn't he? Leroy Sane going down. It was more of a slap than a fist. Second half is underway. Pat Norret will catch up with him in a minute. QPR 0, Huddersfield 0 at half time. The Ivorian Moise Sehi has got a goal. In the French League, Strasbourg leading away at struggling Clermont by 1-0 this afternoon. Let's head into Spain. And Celta Vigo against Girona. Luke Charlton, as things stand, Girona are going to knock Real Madrid off the top of the Spanish La Liga if things stay the same.
Yes, with only 14 minutes to go here, Girona are still holding on with that 1-0 lead. Celta Vigo have made a couple of changes to try and make a difference here in that match, with Luca de la Torre being replaced by Gelson and Manu Sanchez being taken off to be replaced by Mihailo Ristic. For Rafa Benitez's side, they're just trying to get themselves back into the game and trying to find an equaliser any way that they can. But with time running out here, it does feel like Girona should be able to see this out fairly comfortably. But they do need to be wary, though, because Celta Vigo have had an element of a threat at different points in the game. But I'll keep you updated as we enter the final 10 minutes here if anything more happens. It's 79 minutes gone. Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1.
Thanks very much, Luke. Let's head to Anfield again. Molly Sumter, it's a very young Liverpool side today that Jurgen Klopp has put out. He's got faith in these youngsters, and early dominance has underlined that.
Yeah, I think we've seen our first big chance of the game here. It comes from Curtis Jones pressing right on the edge of the Canaries box, and then manages to find a sweet pass across to Joe Gomez on the more central edge of the Norwich box, who really manages to latch onto the ball and drills it towards the bottom left-hand corner. It catches the Norwich goalkeeper long a bit, catches him out a little bit. I think he would have just about had it covered, but the shot goes just wide of the post. Liverpool do look extremely strong coming out of here today, though. As it stands, we've got 6 minutes gone. Liverpool 0, Norwich 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. Now off to Pat Norrat, who's in West London. He's at Loftus Road. It's QPR against Huddersfield. We haven't had a goal yet, but Pat, a very big chance for Huddersfield Town.
Really big chance from a corner from Huddersfield, who are Darren Moore's very good in these corners, like set plays. Ball came in, Betrovic punched it away. The ball headed back in, and Hillick, the centre back, wonderful shot, left foot shot, hit the bar and went out. At the moment, with 47 gone, still QPR 0, Huddersfield 0. The game is getting better now. It is getting better.
From the Championship to a game between two teams from the Championship in the FA Cup 4th round, and a chance for Southampton. Jordan Nicolai.
Yeah, a chance for Southampton. It really should have been the equaliser, but it was Alcaraz who actually stopped it from being an equaliser because he got in the way of Dibbling's pass. Dibbling was about to put Shea Adams through on goal, and we know what Shea Adams can do when he's through on goal. It was Alcaraz who got in the way of the pass and just completely intercepted it. And Shea Adams just looked at Alcaraz, gave him a death stare there. And that could have been the equaliser for Southampton because Shea Adams has been on good form. But it's still Watford 1, Southampton 0 here.
Thank you very much. A death stare in Hertfordshire. Moving on from that to a tribute from Pep Guardiola this week, paying tribute to Jurgen Klopp, who announced he will be leaving Liverpool.
Against Liverpool always was almost a nightmare. So, of course, we will be missed. So, it was shock, like I think everyone, to the news. So, I felt when I'm in the news, a part of Man City will lose something. We cannot define our period here together without him. We cannot define our period without Liverpool. It's impossible. Have been our bigger rival. Personally, have been the best rival I ever had in my life. In Dortmund when I was in Bayern, then here. I think the Premier League is going to miss him. The charisma, personality, and especially that is the reason why the way his team's playing. Always have been a pleasure to watch how positive he is in approach. Play football, respect the fans. Are going to try it, win the game. It doesn't matter what happened. Of course, I wish him all the best. He will not admit it, but he will be back.
Interesting thoughts there from Pep Guardiola. He will be back, and I'm sure he will. Doesn't fancy the Barcelona job, does he? Because that came up yesterday, ironically. Xavi will be leaving in the end of June. He'll be leaving Barcelona. They conceded 5 goals at home yesterday, Barcelona. Liverpool, meantime, have just hit the post against Norwich City. We'll be back to Molly Sumter in just a few moments' time. They've certainly been the better side, Liverpool, and striking the post with an early chance. It was Darwin Núñez, curling effort, had the goalkeeper beaten, it hit the post and come back out again. That's the closest we've come to a goal at Anfield so far this afternoon. Liverpool 0, Norwich City 0. Watford leading Southampton by a goal to 0. Let's check in on our game in the Bundesliga. Union Berlin just above the relegation zone. Darmstadt deep in the relegation zone at the Stadion an der Foresterie. It's Mark Thomas.
Yes, things pretty even right now. 9 minutes gone, Barry. And Darmstadt, they're starting to play the ball around a little bit. They're looking a little bit dangerous down the left-hand side. Schalke looks, dare I say, sharp. And Francic, the Croatian, is doing his best to get a hold on the midfield. Pretty even. Nearly 10 minutes gone. Of course, last time around these teams, it was a 4-1 win for Berlin. Let's hope we can get as many goals as that today. After 9, going on 10 minutes, it is still Berlin 0, Darmstadt 0.
Thank you very much for that, Mark Thomas. So 0-0 in both of our games that have just kicked off. Liverpool against Norwich, 11 minutes gone in that one. 0-0 between those two sides in Germany. Let's head back to Anfield. Molly, really close to Liverpool coming to opening the scoring.
Yeah, again, as I said before, Curtis Jones really orchestrating a lot of the Liverpool attack at the moment with his high press on a Norwich team that really cannot seem to get out of their own half at the moment. He manages to get a pass just across to Darwin Núñez, who, as you said, curled the ball beautifully, and it just came off of the post. Liverpool coming extremely close at the moment. Norwich players doing all they can to keep holding strong lines within their defensive areas, but I think we will be seeing a goal very, very shortly should they keep coming this close, Barry. It's 12 minutes gone here at Anfield. Liverpool 0, Norwich 0.
Yes, I'm getting that impression, Molly. It's when, not if. Liverpool looking really strong and purposeful. It's a case of how many, Molly, how many trophies can they pick up? They're top of the table, the FA Cup, they're in the final of the Carabao Cup as well, and they'll fancy their chances in Europe as well, in Europa League. 4 trophies up for grabs. What are the chances of Jurgen Klopp picking up 3 or 4 of those in coming weeks? Still 0-0 in that game so far. Liverpool 3 shots. None have been on target, because if you hit the post, it's classed as off target. Norwich have had a princely sum of 0 chances, and therefore no shots on target from them so far, and they've seldom crossed the halfway line up until this stage, but they have hit the 13-minute mark at Anfield, where it is currently Liverpool 0, Norwich City 0. Let's go back to West London. Queen's Park Rangers against Huddersfield Town, still 0-0. What's your hunch, Pat? Who's going to take this one?
Well, it seems to me that Darren Moore's changed from a back three, he's gone to a 4-4-2, and Rudin Thomas, I think it's him, he's causing a lot of problems on the left-hand side, which is obviously QPR right. We've got a new right back there. That right back has been there since he was 9. But the problem you've got now is that they're going down the left-hand side. Just before you came to me, Rudin Thomas went on the left-hand side, wonderful crosses, and Redondi took a shot and the goalie saved it. At the moment, it seems to me that's what they're doing. They're attacking the young right back, but he needs cover. At the moment, 53 gone. Still QPR 0. Huddersfield 0.
Thanks very much, Pat. Big game that down at the basement end of the Championship. Still 0-0. Still 0-0 at Anfield. Liverpool just had another big chance. We'll hear from Molly very shortly about that particular one. Nigeria will be taking on Angola this Friday in the AFCON quarter-final. Build up throughout the week on Brila FM with the team in the Ivory Coast. Can the Super Eagles get their hands on the trophy for a 4th time? We want to hear from you. Call in or contact via social media. We will, of course, be heading back to FJ and the team in just a few minutes' time. It's your chance to call in, have your say on the Super Eagles. Are they about to win AFCON? Are they going to manage to get past Angola this Friday, or will that be a tougher game than many people are anticipating? The AFCON is getting towards the business end of the season, and Nigeria is still very much part of it. Friday's quarter-final is going to be one we're all looking forward to. It's Nigeria against Angola. Give FJ a call, and it'll be great to hear from you guys as well. Plus, your thoughts on the action so far this afternoon. What are your thoughts on Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool, Xavi leaving Barcelona at the end of the season? Who would you like to see replace those 2 heavyweights in the managerial hot seats? Talking of Liverpool,
The Goals, powered by NairaBet.
Curtis Jones has just put a huge smile on Jurgen Klopp's face. You can't see it because he's got this scarf over his mouth, but I promise you there's a smile underneath there. Curtis Jones with the goal. Liverpool 1, Norwich City 0. It's only taken them 15 minutes or so, and a very good goal it is too. We'll hear from Molly Sumter in just a couple of moments' time about that goal. But Liverpool are leading, and, they're leading by 1-0 against the Championship side, Norwich City. We'll go to Molly in a second. First of all, let's head to West London again. Pat Norret, another chance for Huddersfield Town.
Yeah, it is. They're getting these corners, loads of one after the other. Thomas took this one, and Helic, the centre-back, who's got more goals apparently in the division, and just hit it over the top of the bar. So they're attacking. It's 56 gone. Just QPR 0, Huddersfield 0.
Cheers, Pat. And so still 0-0 in that game. We had a 0-0 earlier. Montpellier against Lille of course, there will not be a 0-0 in the two other games that we've got going on in the FA Cup at the moment. Liverpool 1-0 up against Norwich City and Watford 1-0 up on Southampton. Let's get to Molly Sumter up at Anfield. No surprise that Liverpool have got their noses in front.
Yeah, we both had literally just said it had to be coming for Liverpool, and it's a brilliant pass cross-field from James McConnell, who's making a rare appearance in midfield today for Liverpool, and Curtis Jones just manages to get a head on it, a lovely glancing header into the right-hand side of the Norwich net. We knew it had to be coming. Very muted celebrations from the Liverpool players. They knew it was coming as well, but Norwich very much to think about to try and keep themselves in this tie. It's 16 minutes gone. Liverpool 1, Norwich 0.
Yes, Liverpool ahead at Anfield. Jurgen Klopp's side looking for trophies on four fronts, top of the Premier League. They could be in the FA Cup 5th round if they can hold on there. It looks like they're going to get through against Norwich City. Let's quickly head off to Germany, shall we, to the Stadion an der Forste. Union Berlin against Darmstadt. Still no goals. A substitution from the bottom side, Darmstadt. Mark Thomas.
Yes, after 13 minutes, we had a substitution here. Rydell went off, he got injured, unfortunately, and Zimmerman came on to replace him at right back, though you might remember him. He played a few games for Norwich City a couple of seasons ago. 16 minutes gone, still even Steven here. Goalkeepers haven't been called into too much action, nothing serious to contend with. 16 going on, 17 minutes gone. It's Union Berlin 0, Darmstadt 0.
Headed back to FJ and the team in just a few moments' time. First of all, Vicarage Road, Watford. Another chance, Jordan Nicolai against Southampton.
Yes, another big chance. Andrews tried to play in Bayo. It was cut out by Harwood Bells. It was cut out poorly because he put it straight into Bayo's path. And Bayo really should have done better. He tried to drive it into the bottom corner, but he ended up putting the ball wide. Bayo, the Ivory Coast striker, has 6 goals this season. Could have got his 7th, but he put it wide of the target. Approaching half-time, Watford 1, Southampton 0.
Watford 1, Southampton 0, Liverpool 1-0 up on Norwich City. Still 0-0 between Union Berlin and Darmstadt earlier on today. Wolves beating West Brom in a feisty derby up at the Hawthorns, where there was lots of crowd trouble that halted the game for over 25 minutes. Plenty to talk about. We're talking AFCON, we're talking FA Cup, we're talking the departures at the end of the season of Klopp and Xavi. Plenty to talk about for FJ and the team. And we're going to hand back to Briller FM now, and we'll be back on Football Live in a few minutes' time.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain. The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, whilst you've been away with FJ, we've had not 1 but 2 goals in our featured game at Anfield to bring us bang up to date with what is turning into an epic cup tie. Here's Molly Sumter.
Yes, Barry, well, we said that the cup produces magic, and in the time that you've been away, we've seen just that. So much to tell you about from here. First of all, Norwich equalled the scoreline. Defender Benjamin Gibson got his first goal since 2018, losing the defender, a close-range header into the back of Alisson's goal. But not even 5 minutes later, Liverpool were back up the pitch and managed to make it 2-1 thanks to Darwin Núñez. A wonderfully clinically worked goal passed through into the penalty box, and Núñez was on the end of it to finish it, smashing in to the bottom left-hand corner of the Norwich goal. Liverpool really have had their spark reignited here after that second goal. A huge chance for Cody Gakpo, and Gravenberch getting a shot cleared off the line by a defender. It's electric here at Anfield. Just what fans would have wanted after the news about Klopp. It's turning into an amazing game here. Liverpool 2, Norwich 1.
Well, I bet Pat Norette was wishing he could have a goal or 2 like that at Anfield. He's watching Loftus Road, where it's goalless between 2 strugglers in the Championship, QPR and Huddersfield. Bringing us bang up to date with some injury news. Here's Pat Norette.
Yeah, injury to the centre-back, Halleck, which is Huddersfield centre-back. So Balko's come on, and actually they're going to miss him. He's pretty good at the back and also scoring goals as well. Like I said to you earlier, he's got the most goals as a centre-back in the Championship. Also, QPR's made a couple of changes. Dixon Bonner's come on for Willock, and Smith's come on for Dukes. they're going to have to look after Thomas on the left-hand side because he's causing havoc on that left-hand side, attacking that young right back. But not really many clear chances, but they're both trying to go at it, trying to win it, as I can see. So it's 74 gone, still QPR 0, Huddersfield 0.
Thanks very much, Pat. Still 0-0 in that game. It's not much better over in Germany. 10 minutes before half-time, or just over 10 minutes. Union Berlin 0, Darmstadt 0, bringing us bang up to date with what he's describing to me as a tepid game. It's Mark Thomas.
Yes, indeed. Not much to report, unfortunately, Barry. It's a glorious day weather-wise. Sadly, the football not so glorious. We just had a half chance for Union Berlin, and that's all we've had. No goalkeepers had to make a save yet. 3 shots each team, none of them on target. So that tells you pretty much the story of the match. Everybody here is expectant. They know what's at stake with this game. It's vital. You know, these 3 points, both these teams need the 3 points. And sooner or later, someone's going to have to score to take the game by the... drag the game by the throat. After 34 minutes, it's still Berlin 0, Darmstadt 0.
Well, there was 2 rather drab and dreary 0-0s, weren't they? Back to where there are goals. Molly Sumter has brought us 3 goals in that game. Liverpool's goals this afternoon have been assisted by their 2 youngsters that are in the starting lineup. 19-year-old James McConnell and the second goal, 20-year-old Connor Bradley. And they've both had assists as Liverpool lead. Jurgen Klopp showing faith in the youngsters, and it's paying off this afternoon. Liverpool could well be, well, they will be, even if they conceded 4 goals in the next 10 minutes, they will still be in the FA Cup 5th round draw because it's taking place at half-time. Can't see that happening. Liverpool got a corner at the moment and leading by 2-1. Thank you very much for those updates. I wonder if we can get across to Watford now. We haven't had a chance to get a half-time report of any sort from Jordan Akola. It's been a very good game. It sounds like Watford deserving their lead at half-time, Jordan.
Yeah, definitely Watford deserving their lead at half-time. And I think Southampton, what they'll be pushing on for is just to be clean in the final third. They've made a lot of changes to this starting lineup today, and they do have a lot of players on the bench that can change the game. So I just wonder when the coach will call for those players. But so far, Watford looking comfortable in front as we start the second half. Watford 1, Southampton 0.
With those championship sides, of course, 46 game season up against 38 in the Premier League. Those extra 8 games do make a lot of difference. And when you're someone like Watford with a small squad chasing the playoffs, or you've got Southampton there, also in that game, of course, very much up against it to try and get straight back to the Premier League at the first attempt. And it looks like they could well finish in the top 2. It's going to be tough to try and fit into all that schedule an FA Cup run. One of them will be going out, one of them will be going through. I don't think the FA Cup is a priority for either this afternoon, but they are serving up a half-decent game there at Vicarage Road. Watford early in the second half leading Southampton by a 1-0. Let's quickly recap where we've been at so far this afternoon. Wolves winning in the battle, quite literally the battle of the Hawthorns against West Brom 2-0. Lots of crowd trouble in that game, which was delayed. Australia through to the last 8 of the AFC Asian Cup. They've beaten Indonesia comfortably by 4-0 in the earlier game. Harry Souttar of Leicester City scoring in that game. He scored the 4th in injury time at the end of the second half to confirm the victory for Australia. Girona have won away at Celta Vigo by 1-0, and they are top of the Spanish league. Probably now is as good a time as any to catch up with that game, and the full-time report from Luke Charlton.
Yes, full-time here at the Abanca Baladios, with Girona picking up all 3 points and seeing themselves return to the top of the La Liga table. It wasn't a vintage performance from the away side by any means, but Michel's men get the job done by 1-0, meaning they leapfrog Real Madrid in the table by a single point, but having played a game more. The only goal came in the 20th minute through player of the match, Porto, an excellent curling effort into the bottom corner past Vicente Guaita. Rafa Benitez's Celta Vigo side would keep pushing for an equaliser, but they would come up short and suffer their 11th loss of the campaign, their 9th by a 1-goal margin. Final score here in Spain, Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1.
Thanks very much for that, Luke. Girona then taking over a point ahead of Real Madrid, who do have a game in hand. Barcelona back in third. They are 11 points. That's right, 11 points behind Girona. They do have one game in hand. Girona have scored 7 more goals than Real Madrid this season. They've scored 9 more goals than Barcelona this season. Atletico Madrid a further 3 points back behind Barcelona in fourth place alongside Athletic Bilbao. It really has been quite some story, that, and the Girona story keeps going on. They've played 22, they've won 17, drawn 4 and lost 1. Let's quickly pop down to Shepherd's Bush, shall we? Pat Norrett is able to give us an update on this one. It's QPR against Huddersfield.
Yeah, I'd say they're both going at it, but they managed to get the ball. This is Huddersfield to the left-hand side. Thomas is causing so much problems. Two men on him, managed to get his crosses. Abdulovic, a nice header, and Bejovic over the bar, and it's a corner. Now, there's made a sub at Huddersfield. Matos, who's unknown from Chelsea, has gone off, so Coroma's come on. He's causing problems on the right-hand side. So this is getting better and it's getting hot. It's 80 gone. QPR 0, Huddersfield 0. Who's going to win?
I don't know. Are you asking me, Pat? Anyway, I think it might be 0-0, the way it's going. Anyway, let's go to Germany quickly. Mark Thomas, you can tell us about a chance in a game that's had very few chances, and it's gone to Darmstadt, Mark.
Yes, it has, against the run of play. They had a great breakaway. Justovan was the guy with the header in the end. Put it just wide of the goal. Should have got it at least on target. Barda did a wonderful break out of defence. Took the ball about 30, 40 yards. He picked out Starker on the left-hand side. Put a lovely cross into the 6-yard penalty spot area with his left foot. A lovely curling cross. And then, as I said, Justovan came in with a header and he put it wide. Should have at least got it on target. But it's warming up a little bit here. Thank goodness for that. After 40 minutes, it's still Union Berlin 0, Darmstadt 0.
Thank you very much for that, Mark. In France, it's now Clermont 1, Strasbourg 1. That's a game involving Clermont, who are currently in the relegation battle, but they are only a point clear, or a point behind the safety zone there, so a win for them today would be great, and they've got an equaliser in that game. Sharma Nicholson with the equaliser in that game. Manchester City ladies are 2-0 up now, thanks to Khadija Shaw. They're 2-0 up at Spurs. Lorient 2, Le Havre 1. That's also in France. Eamon Carey with the goal. And back in the WSL, Bristol City have equalised. Amelie Threstrup with the goal against West Ham United. Let's head back to Anfield. Molly Sumter, 3 goals in the first half so far. Still got 3 minutes of the first half remaining. Liverpool still on top?
I would say the Reds are still on top here, but the pace of the game has slowed down ever so slightly. Liverpool, to begin with, very much keeping Norwich on their toes. Norwich struggling to keep up, but it has calmed down as it comes to the end of this half. Still a brilliant game of football to watch here. We spoke about James McConnell just a few moments ago and how good he's been. He just almost managed to break free and lead a Liverpool attack, but Norwich midfielder Hernandez made sure that couldn't happen. Norwich are doing fairly well. You've got to give them their due for how they're holding off Liverpool so far, but I think we are definitely going to see some more goals in this game. It's about 3 minutes till half time. Liverpool 2, Norwich 1.
Thank you very much, Molly. So Liverpool 2-1 up on Norwich City. Let's head back to Vicarage Road, where Watford, last time we heard, were 1-0 up on Southampton. How's this one panning out, Jordan Akolai?
Southampton really had a good opportunity to make it 1-1. In fact, it was a carbon copy free kick. Well, could have been. It was in a similar position for where Martins had scored for Watford, but Alcaraz couldn't do the same. Sometimes with these free kicks, when they're so close to goal, it's hard to get the dip just to get it on target, and that's what Alcaraz struggled to do. And there was actually a chance on the other end from Watford, and it was a fantastic block from Stevens as he cut out Asprilla's cross, because that could have been Watford 2-0 up. But the match is definitely livening up in this second half. I think both teams, their managers must have really given it to them in the change room, because they're both stepping up and going for it in the second half. There's Watford 1, Southampton 0.
Thanks, Jordan. Remember, it's the FA Cup fifth round draw taking place at half-time in the game between Liverpool and Norwich City. In between things, we'll try and bring you those ties as and when the draw is made over here in England. Watford looking like they might well be in that fifth round draw. 54 minutes gone, they're leading Southampton by a goal to nil. Plenty of tributes this week for Jurgen Klopp as he announces that he will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. One of those tributes was from the Chelsea manager, Mauricio Pochettino.
Really sad because I think we are going, already we miss him. And then because when we were sacked on Tottenham, the first message that I received was from him. Respect, because I think the job that was doing and is doing on Liverpool is amazing. We are going to miss him, but for sure he deserves, and I think he's fully deserved. I think sad news for the people that love the spectacle and football. And yes, he's a great character, great man, great coach that for sure the English football is going to miss.
John Kane, our producer here, is just asking me, what was he saying? I can translate a bit of it for you, John. One of the things he said there was when he was sacked as Tottenham Hotspur manager, the first text message that he got was from Jurgen Klopp, which was wishing him all the best and you will get back, he will bounce back, he will be back for sure. And that's a really good gesture from Jurgen Klopp, and it's the type of guy that Jurgen Klopp is. He's certainly going to be missed from the Premier League next season. There has been a goal in the Championship.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Into the last 10 minutes of that game, into the last 5 minutes, in fact, at Loftus Road. And I can tell you that Huddersfield Town have taken the lead away at Queen's Park Rangers in what is amounting to a 6-pointer. QPR can jump above Huddersfield and out of the bottom three with a victory, but they have dropped behind. Huddersfield, who have got better as the game has gone on, have just scored through Ruduni to take the lead in that game in West London with just 5 minutes to go. And we will catch up with Pat Norrett right now, who can tell us all about that big goal for Huddersfield Town.
Yeah, it was coming, only 86 minutes. Basically, it was a free kick, again, given away by QPR. A ball pumped forward, it headed back out, headed back in again, and Ruduni found himself in the box on his own. Where's VAR? He made it 1-0 to Huddersfield. So 86 gone, QPR 0, Huddersfield 1.
Thank you very much for that, Pat. So that's a big goal. It does leave Queen's Park Rangers peering down towards League One. Still a lot of football to be played. QPR have got better in recent weeks, but that is a brutal, challenging division with 46 tough games. There are no easy games in the Championship, and Queen's Park Rangers need to find points from somewhere. Otherwise, they will be playing their football in the third tier of English football next season. There are 5 minutes added on at the end of the first half in Germany, and it's still goalless between Union Berlin and Darmstadt in our featured game in the German Bundesliga. We're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. 2 minutes of stoppage time, in fact, and those 2 minutes of stoppage time have elapsed, and the referee has blown for half time. It's Liverpool 2, Norwich City 1, and we'll get an update for that game. Why don't we head to Anfield right now with that half-time whistle just blowing. Here's Molly Sumter. Liverpool winning by 2-1 at half-time.
Yeah, what a half we have been treated to here on Merseyside this afternoon. Liverpool taking the lead in the 16th minute. The Canaries, however, coming up with the perfect response and finding themselves back level thanks to that header courtesy of Benjamin Gibson. As I said, his first goal since 2018, and what a big one to score for him. But just as Norwich Hearts were lifted, Darwin Nunez broke them all over again with a fantastic strike into the left of the Norwich net. Fan, rival or neutral, you have got to love watching this Liverpool side play. Some really superb football from such a young team. Slowing down as we came into the closing stages of the half, but definitely looking forward to the second one. Half-time here at Anfield, Liverpool 2, Norwich 1.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Molly. We'll be back with you in the second half. Liverpool leading by 2-0 1 in that game. On Saturday in the Bundesliga, Bayern did manage to close the gap on Bayer Leverkusen at the top by a considerable margin. It's now down to just 2 points. Harry Kane scoring again in Bayern's 3-2 away win at Augsburg, whilst leaders Bayer Leverkusen were held 0-0 at home by Borussia Mönchengladbach at the Bayer Arena. It was third against fourth at the MHP Arena. Stuttgart thrashing Leipzig in a cracking game 5-2, largely thanks to a hat-trick by a man that couldn't get going in the Premier League last season. Dennis Undav was a flop at Brighton. He's not been a flop this season. 12 goals now he's got in the Bundesliga for Stuttgart, who have been the surprise package this season. 7 goals in that game, 8 at Barcelona, of course, where they lost 5-3 at home to Villarreal in Spain. Let's head back to QPR. Pat Norek, QPR very close to finding an equaliser.
I tell you, Bobby, should have been 1-1. It was a wonderful ball down the left-hand side, a wonderful cross, and Armstrong got into it, but he was tackled. It was just one of those. It should have been a goal. For me, looking at it again, it should have been a goal. It should be 1-1. But with 89 gone, it is still QPR 0, Huddersfield 1.
Thank you very much, Pat. And 7 minutes of injury time have just been added on. Let's go back to Jordan Akolai. Watford against Southampton. Watford leading by the slenderest of margins, 1-0. Southampton trying to at least force a replay.
Yeah, Southampton just had a great opportunity there. Stevens played the ball over the top into Mara, and he took it down well enough on his chest, but the finish was just poor. Very, very poor. Looks like a few substitutes will be coming on for Southampton. Sam Odozie of Nigerian descent, I believe, is one of those subs that will be coming on. But to be honest, it's been all Watford. Watford have been the better team in this second half. And if they keep it up, they're going to be a team that a lot of teams are scared to play in the 5th round. But we'll see. So far, only 60 minutes gone. Watford 1, Southampton 0.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Join on the corner where the big boys play.
Calling all high flyers who fancies a free flight on us. Naira Vegas are making it rain with 1 million, yes, 1 million free flights on Aviator. Claim unlimited flights with no minimum stake. The sky's the limit. Every day it will randomly rain free flights through the chat feature. Simply place your bets on Aviator and watch it rain free flights in the chat. Make sure you board the plane. You wouldn't want to miss out on a maximum multiplier of times 250,000. Full terms and conditions apply. Must click claim in the chat to be rewarded. Free flights for Aviator only. Must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly.
What on earth is this?
Coming up soon on Football Live, a brand new signing.
It's me. Richard Parr.
That's right, a brand new presenter, Richard Parr, will be joining Football Live, exclusive to Brilla FM this February.
Absolutely crazy. Chelsea are playing like champions, so we'd love to get your thoughts as well. Part of me thinks that was all absolutely orchestrated.
Football Live on Brila FM.
Many radio shows win high popularity with the prizes and cash they give away, but there's one show that's tops because the head man gives away as little as possible. What other radio program could it be but
Football Live on Brila FM.
Around the ground, chasing the goals.
Football Live returns next Saturday on Brilla FM when we welcome back the Premier League after its winter break. We are back with a bang in the early kick-off where Everton at Goodison Park take on Ange Postecoglou's high-flying Tottenham Hotspur.
They didn't help us out, and I don't like VAR. I don't like it today either.
Brighton take on Crystal Palace in the M23 derby at the Amex, with the Eagles looking for improvement after a very disappointing January.
Stop it here, shall we? I mean, you're going to be tricky with your questions.
It's top against bottom in Germany in the Bundesliga. Darmstadt are bottom, Bayer Leverkusen are pulling away at the top. It's our featured match in the Bundesliga.
Sowohl auf dem Platz als auch in der Kabine.
Add to the mix Fulham's away trip to Burnley and Newcastle United's home match against Luton Town in the Premier League, and you have an all-action-packed show that kicks off at 1:30 next Saturday with Dean Kilford, your Football Live host on Brilla FM, your frequency of champions.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brilla FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brilla FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Yes, welcome back. The FA Cup draw is currently taking place. Chelsea fans, I can tell you, you're out the hat already. And if you can win that replay against Aston Villa at Villa Park, you will be at home to Leeds United or Plymouth Argyle. So it's Chelsea or Villa against Leeds or Plymouth. Bournemouth have just drawn Leicester City. Blackburn or Wrexham against Newcastle sounds pretty tasty. Liverpool, if they can get past Norwich City today, will have a home tie, and that tie will be against Watford or Southampton. So our two featured games in the FA Cup this afternoon will play each other. Liverpool or Norwich against Watford or Southampton. Could be Watford. They're currently leading by a goal to nil. Bristol City are still in it from the Championship, or Nottingham Forest. They drew their game, and they will be at home to Newport County or Manchester United. So Manchester United, if they can get past Newport today, go to Nottingham Forest or Bristol City. We'll stick with this draw because there's only a couple more ties to come out. Wolverhampton Wanderers are at home, having won against West Bromwich Albion earlier on, and they will be at home to Brighton. That will be a cracking game, that one. Wolves against Brighton, all Premier League. And I can tell you, there has been a goal. We'll come back to the FA Cup in just a second.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Let's get straight back to Loftus Road, shall we? Because there's been a goal late in the game. An equaliser for QPR, Pat Narrett.
Oh, yeah, it's been coming. Barry's been coming. They've been attacking him. Kitchen Singh, I would say, they managed to get the ball and work it wide, and a wonderful cross came in. And Parr, what was he doing in the box? He got his head to it and scored. So it's 95 gone. It's QPR 1, Huddersfield 1. We're still playing, Barry.
Wow, left it late there, didn't they? The final two ties have been drawn in the FA Cup. Listen, there's a cracker here. It's a couple of crackers, in fact. Sheffield Wednesday or Coventry against Maidstone United. So George Alakobe, who's had a fantastic time, the African in charge of Maidstone, takes his side to Sheffield Wednesday or Coventry, who must replay at Coventry in a couple of weeks' time. And the final tie, this one's a delicious one. I love this tie. This has got real pedigree. I think they meet in the Premier League in a few weeks' time as well. It's Luton Town against Manchester City, the holders. Luton Town against Manchester City. That will be a belter. So let's quickly go through those ties again. Chelsea or Aston Villa against Leeds or Plymouth. Manchester United, if they can beat Newport County later on this afternoon, will go to Bristol City or Nottingham Forest. That won't be easy. For me, one of the ties that are around, Wolverhampton Wanderers against Brighton. Two cracking sides in form. That will be a real good game. Maidstone, the only survivor from the non-league game, are away to Sheffield Wednesday or Coventry. And Manchester City, the holders, go to Luton Town. Newcastle away at Blackburn or Wrexham. If you can imagine, if Wrexham are taking 6,000 people to Blackburn for that game tomorrow evening, 6,000. And if they can win it at Ewood Park, Wrexham against Newcastle sounds pretty tasty to me. It's getting pretty interesting, isn't it? Let's go off to Vicarage Road. I wonder if there's a buzz in the crowd there, Jordan Nicolai. The fact that the winners will go to Anfield. And at the moment, it's beginning to look like Watford.
It's beginning to look like Watford, but if Russell Martin has anything to say about it, then he is going to change that around because, wow, he has made 4 changes all at once. Southampton not messing around in this second half. That is one way to tell your players you're not happy with what you're seeing on the pitch. The 2 Armstrongs are on, Stuart Armstrong and Adam Armstrong, Smallbone and Fraser also on. 2 changes for Watford, Asprilla off for Seymour and Morris on for Lewis. So Southampton pretty much with a whole new attack in these last 25 minutes. Let's see if that can help them get back into this game. But as it stands, it might be Watford against Liverpool perhaps, or Norwich. We'll see. Watford 1, Southampton 0.
Thanks, Jordan. In the Dutch Eredivisie, PSV are 13 clear of last season's champions Feyenoord after yet another win yesterday. Luc de Jong with both the goals in a 2-0 home win against Almere City in Eindhoven. I can tell you that gap has been reduced to 12 today. Feyenoord held at home by FC Twente 0-0 in that game. It does look like PSV will have that Eredivisie title wrapped up before anyone else wraps the title up in any of the major leagues around Europe this season. Verona 1, Frosinone 1 in Italy. KO Jorge with the equalising goal in that game. Let's head back to Loftus Road, and I think the final whistle has just blown, actually. Let's see if we can head back to Pat Norette. Pat, you've left it all late. 2 late goals, very exciting. QPR were pushing in the end, but I'll have to make do with a point apiece.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they deserve the point the last 15 minutes. They did push. But my question is, why didn't they do that before? It's one of those games. The first half didn't have really much going in it. It was basically loads of fouls on both sides. But the second half opened up a little bit. They actually, both sides tried to win it. And I think then, of course, Huddersfield got their goal. It's just a normal free kick in the box. And the striker got it and made it 1-0. But then QPR came back, made 3 changes, kept their cool, passed the ball. And then it was a simple goal. It was basically nice little passing move. The ball comes to the right-hand side. A wonderful cross from Chair, who normally plays on the left-hand side. And then Parr just headed up and scored the goal. And that was it. So they ended up with equal points. I would say QPR won and it's Huddersfield 1. All to play for still in the championship.
Thank you very much for that, Pat. Excellent as always from Pat Norette. 1-1 draw between QPR and Huddersfield. They couldn't afford to lose that game, either of them, but a point doesn't do an awful lot of favours for 2 teams that really need to start winning games to move away from the relegation zone. And when you look up that table, there is a lot of quality in that championship this season, and there are not too many teams who you would expect to be dragged into the mix down at the bottom. Huddersfield will probably be the happier of the 2 because they stay out of the relegation zone, and Queen's Park Rangers stay in it. The Londoners still battling for survival in the championship. Now, last night, all eyes were on the AFCON, and the Nigerian team didn't disappoint, putting on a decent display to beat Cameroon by 2-0. Those 2 goals coming from Ademola Lookman of Atalanta, playing his football now in Italy. And here is the man of the match from the game last night.
Yeah, it was a big performance from the team. We fought well from the first minute to the 100th minute. All-round team performance, and we were strong. So on to the next game. In terms of training, in terms of the mindset, I think we've all been together. We've all been behind each other as individuals and as a team. And I think everyone can see that. So we continue in this way, and we continue to do what we've been doing. And I think that's for you guys to write the stories and to be the judge. I think as a team, we believe in each other, like I said, and we're all behind each other. So that's what we care about, having each other's backs on the pitch, in training, off the field. We keep on encouraging each other, and
So that's Ademola Lookman, both his goals proving enough in the end. Now Watford are 1-0 up on Southampton, and they nearly clinched their place in the 5th round, which will be a trip, of course, to Anfield if Liverpool can hold on. They're 2-1 up at half-time. The draw has just been made. It's Liverpool and Norwich against Watford and Southampton. And Jordan, they nearly made it. All count there, Watford, hitting the post.
Yes, almost booked their place into the 5th round. It was Martins, again, Mateus Martins, who scored the first goal of that free kick. And this one, it fell kindly to him. It was actually Paul defending from Southampton. It fell to him, and it wasn't his shot that directly hit the post. It actually took a big deflection off Stevens, and it completely wrong-footed Lumley. And he was lucky that the post was there just to stop that from going into the back of the net. Otherwise, Martins would have had 2, and Watford would have had 2, and they would have been looking good enough to go through. But not long left in this one. Watford 1, Southampton 0.
Cheers for that, Jordan. Let's go across to Germany. Half-time, Union Berlin, Darmstadt 0-0. And let's catch up for a half-time report in this one with Mark Thomas.
Thanks, Barry. It's still 0-0 at half-time. It's been pretty dreary, goalless and lackluster here. Union have looked a better team, but no punch in the box. They're lacking that killer punch. Often a couple of crosses would come in. There'd be no sign of the centre forwards. Looked as if they were away on vacation. Darmstadt had that best chance after 38 minutes, that Yusta van Heer, which went wide. It's a bit like watching a trailer for a movie. And then the movie never starting. It's a lot of promise, a lot at stake, but very little action. The best thing for the fans right now, they're all enjoying a beer and a pretzel. At halftime, it is Union Berlin 0, Darmstadt 0.
Thank you very much, Mark. A beer and a pretzel. Hey, that would just about help me sign off after 4 hours of Football Live. We've got about a half an hour left of the show today. It's been an FA Cup special. We've been mixing it in with all the gossip from the two big managerial departures that have been announced in the last couple of days. Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool at the end of the season, and Xavi will be leaving Barcelona in June as well, after his side shipped 5 goals in defeat at home to Villarreal last night. Liverpool, meanwhile, are on the attack. They're 2-1 up against Norwich City. They will probably be hosting Watford in the next round. That's not a done deal yet, but Liverpool looking for a third at the moment, which would surely clinch the victory against the Championship side. But at the moment, it's still in the balance. Still, it's 2-1 to Liverpool. We'll be across to Molly Sumter for an update in that game very, very shortly. Quick recap on what has happened so far on Football Live this afternoon, and a very, very entertaining show. It's finished Australia 4, Indonesia 0 in the Asian Cup playoffs. So they're into the last 8 of that competition. Australia, an emphatic victory against Indonesia, who head home. West Brom 0, Wolves 2 in the FA Cup. A game marred by crowd trouble. League 1, Montpellier 0, 10-man Lille 0. Girona 0, Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1. Girona top of the table in La Liga in Spain after that narrow victory away from home. They just keep on going, don't they? QPR 1, Huddersfield 1, as we just heard in the Championship. 2 very late goals there. Huddersfield took the lead with 5 minutes to go. You felt it was theirs, but QPR fought back and got an equaliser. It's Watford 1, Southampton 0, and Liverpool 2, Norwich 1. It's half-time currently at Union Berlin against Darmstadt. We're just waiting for the 2 sets of players to come out in our featured Bundesliga game and serve up the entertainment for the second half. It's an action-packed afternoon. Just to recap on the FA Cup draw, if you missed it a few minutes ago, Newcastle go to Wrexham or Blackburn. Chelsea, if they can overcome Aston Villa away from home, which in itself will be very tough, will be at home to Leeds or Plymouth Argyle. Bournemouth against Leicester sounds a really good matchup as well. Liverpool, Norwich City against Watford or Southampton, as we've mentioned. Bristol City or Nottingham Forest against Newport County or Manchester United. Wolves take on Brighton, and for me, that is a cracking game. That really is going to be a great game. Sheffield Wednesday or Coventry, that's the reward for Maidstone United. They will go to either Hillsborough or the Coventry Building Society Stadium. Take your pick. It will be a replay between those two to decide who hosts Maidstone for a place in the quarter-final. And another great tie, Luton Town against Manchester City. So let's get back to Anfield. It's 2-1 to Liverpool. Everyone's talking about Liverpool against Watford. Liverpool have opened the second half pretty well. But Molly, a chance for Norwich City.
Yeah, they've been getting forward plenty, as much as Liverpool have been holding them off and getting forward themselves. Norwich have definitely had their fair share of the chances as well. The ball was ping-ponging around the Liverpool box and eventually fell to Gabriel Sara of Norwich on the edge of the box, who latched onto a very powerful strike from extremely long range, which flew just a few inches wide of the left post. What a great effort from him. If we can see a bit more of that, I'm sure there'll be more goals to come. As it stands, it's 48 minutes on the clock. Liverpool 2, Norwich 1.
Thank you very much. The Nigerian Emmanuel Dennis is on for Watford. He's just returned back on loan from Nottingham Forest to Vicarage Road to play the rest of the season for Watford. Let's head back to Vicarage Road. Jordan Nicolai, it's a second debut for Emmanuel Dennis.
Yes, Emmanuel Dennis has come on for the goal scorer Martins, and he's someone that can be pivotal to Watford's season. You know, we've seen what he's done before in a Watford jersey, so yeah, we know what he's capable of. He could have been maybe in the African Nations Cup, but no, he'll be with Watford through the rest of the season. And I'll be giving you information on how he plays today. Watford fans will be hoping that he can get off the ground and running. So we'll see. With 12 minutes remaining, Watford 1, Southampton 0.
Well, he scored quite a few goals for Watford in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago in what was a pretty instantly forgettable season for Watford when they went straight back down again. If the AFCON had come around 2 years ago, he'd certainly been part of the, and it did come around 2 years ago, he'd been part of the Nigerian squad then, but with all those strikers available for Nigeria at the moment, the Super Eagles have afforded to not include him in the squad for this AFCON, so he has to make do with staying with his club, which is now Watford, where he's joined on loan from Nottingham Forest. Only one non-league team, we mentioned Maidstone, only one non-league team has ever won the FA Cup. That's Tottenham Hotspur, back in their Southern League days of 1901. They beat Football League opposition that day, underdogs in that final, but they beat Sheffield United of the Football League, a big upset back in the day by 1-0. And that, of course, back in 1901 was the last time that Tottenham won a trophy, I do believe. Or have they won one or two since? I'm not quite sure. We'll have a look into that. I'm sure our producer can just confirm. But I think that was the last time Spurs won a trophy, 1901. Anyway, Norwich City against Liverpool. 2-1 to Liverpool in that. We'll be back to Molly Sumter in just a few minutes' time. Girona, top of the league in Spain. Real Madrid winning yesterday, but they can't hold on to that top spot because Girona just keep on going, of course. Wow, it's been a really, really entertaining afternoon of football. Let's head back to Molly Sumter at the game between Liverpool and Norwich City. Next goal in this game, Molly, is going to be crucial, I think.
Yeah, I think the next goal will be incredibly important. Should it go Liverpool's way, you'd like to think that would seal the deal for them into the fifth round of the Cup. Norwich getting another goal, not looking too likely at the moment, but should it happen, it would make the game an incredibly tasty one for the remaining 40 or so minutes of this game. A great first start to the second half. It's Liverpool 2, Norwich 1.
Thank you very much, Molly. I say the next goal in that game could be very, very important. And if I told you the next goal in that game has just this moment hit the back of the net, would you be surprised?
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
So then, which way do you reckon it's gone? Liverpool 3, Norwich 1, Liverpool 2, Norwich 2 maybe? Well, I can tell you, Diogo Jota has just pounced with a clinical finish to make it Liverpool 3, Norwich City 1. We'll be across to Molly in just a second to hear about that goal. Let's head back to Vicarage Road. Watford 1, Southampton 0. Not quite ready to book the coach the aeroplane or the train to Anfield, but Watford looking like they're going to be heading to Anfield as things stand, Jordan Nicola.
Yes, as things stand. However, Southampton are really starting to throw the kitchen sink. The changes that they made a host of changes. 5 changes made to the Southampton team in the second half, and it's starting to come together. The cohesiveness, the players starting to get their passes right in the final third. So they've got about 9 minutes to make it work for Russell Martin. However, it does look like Watford have got enough just to see it through, but they're just going to have to weather this storm for the next 9 minutes or so. So it's Watford 1, Southampton 0.
Thank you very much for that, Jordan. Let's go back to Anfield and hear all about that Liverpool goal from Molly Sumter.
Well, we said it might be coming for Liverpool, who have looked excellent so far this game. It was a long ball lifted all the way over the top that found Diogo Jota. You could have fit 2 double-decker buses between that Norwich defence. They were left wide open, and Jota has hit it on the half volley. A wonderful, wonderful strike to powerfully find the back of the Norwich net. You'd like to think this tie might just be over for the Canaries now, but we've still got about 35 or so minutes to go of normal time. It's Liverpool 3, Norwich 1.
Thanks very much for that, Molly. So Liverpool looking like they are going to have a home tie in the 5th round of the FA Cup. And, well, Liverpool still in there. Manchester City is still in there. throw into the mix Wolves, Brighton, Newcastle. They've all kind of avoided one another, the big clubs. Manchester United, of course, in there, but they play later on away at Newport County. Is that going to be a banana skin? Who knows? It's still up for grabs, isn't it? I mean, it all goes down to the draw. You could get a quarter-final draw. Chelsea's still in there as well. Some big guns, and they're all avoiding one another. Chelsea's reward, if they can beat Aston Villa away from home in a replay, will be Leeds or Plymouth from the Championship. And you would expect either Chelsea or Villa to progress from that replay and go on to reach the quarter-finals. It's getting really interesting now, the FA Cup. And it's getting really interesting in the game at Watford as well, because the clock is running down. Let's quickly go to Vicarage Road and hear from Jordan Nicolai. And the Watford fans are beginning to bite those nails, aren't they?
Yeah, they're beginning to bite those nails. Emmanuel Dennis had an opportunity just to put Watford clear. It wasn't necessarily a massive chance, but he was on their counter-attack, and you could see a bit of rust. We know Emmanuel Dennis, he has pace for days, skills for days. He just didn't have enough to get beyond Stevens. If he did, then he would have had two Watford options to pass to in attack. But yeah, it's just really parking the bus time for Watford, sitting back and clearing it, and just trying to weather this storm from Southampton. Can they do it is the question. About 5 minutes or so to see. Watford 1, Southampton 0.
We heard from the Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk earlier. Of course, he's not the Liverpool captain this afternoon, but he now has taken the Liverpool captain's armband. He's come on as a sub to tell us about those Liverpool substitutions. Here's Molly Sumter.
Yeah, straight after that third goal, Klopp has decided to make a triple change. Andy Robertson has come off as Joe Gomez makes way. Ibrahim Konate, has come off, and Van Dijk, now, as you said, taking the captain band, has come on. As well as this, Szoboszlai has come on for Curtis Jones too. A couple of defensive changes there, maybe just to calm the last kind of 30 minutes of this game down. But also Szoboszlai, definitely somebody who can make creative decisions in midfield and potentially get them that fourth goal that really, really would solidify this tie. As it stands, it's still Liverpool 3, Norwich 1.
Thank you very much, Molly. Well, Andre Ayew of Ghana couldn't make any sort of impact in his 8th AFCON tournament earlier this month. Ghana went home without a whimper. He's returned back to his club, Le Havre, and he's just scored this afternoon. It's now Lorient 2, Le Havre 2. Having a really good season, Le Havre, actually. Andre Ayew with the goal 5 minutes from time. So, Diogo Jota's goal 8 minutes into the second half has given the Liverpool side that are at home to Norwich this afternoon a really good advantage, 3-1. Norwich are playing their part in the game, and if they can get the next goal, who knows where this one is going. Watford 1, Southampton 0. That one has 4 minutes to run. As things stand, it'll be Watford that go to Anfield in round 5 of the FA Cup. You are listening to Football Live.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Join Corner Corner where the big boys play.
If you're betting on sports this week, why not make your money go further? Sign up to NairaBet for 11 days of risk-free betting. If your bet loses, you will get your stake back as a free bet up to 2,000 Naira. All you need to do is register a new account with NairaBet today and qualify to get up to 22,000 Naira in free bets. Visit www.nairabet.com/bonus for more information. General and free bet terms apply. Must be over 18. Must be KYC approved. Must place a qualifying bet. Bet must include football, tennis or basketball markets. Please gamble responsibly.
Football Live returns next Saturday on Brila FM when we welcome back the Premier League after its winter break. We are back with a bang in the early kickoff where Everton at Goodison Park take on Ange Postecoglou's high-flying Tottenham Hotspur.
didn't help us out, and I don't like VAR. I don't like it today either.
Brighton take on Crystal Palace in the M23 derby at the Amex, with the Eagles looking for improvement after a very disappointing January.
Stop it here, shall we? I mean, you're going to be tricky with your questions.
It's top against bottom in Germany in the Bundesliga. Darmstadt are bottom, Bayer Leverkusen are pulling away at the top. It's our featured match in the Bundesliga.
Sowohl auf dem Platz als auch in der Kabine.
Add to the mix Fulham's away trip to Burnley and Newcastle United's home match against Luton Town in the Premier League. And you have an all-action-packed show that kicks off at 1:30 next Saturday with Dean Kilford, your Football Live host on Briller FM, your frequency of champions.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
And we always like a good old FA Cup goal, don't we?
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Watford fans might want to just forget about booking that coach up to Anfield, because Southampton have gone and got themselves an equaliser. It's Watford 1, Southampton 1, and an equaliser in that game for Southampton. We'll get across to Jordan Nicola in just a second to hear about that goal. Let's go back to Anfield. In fact, no, we'll go to Jordan Nicola first at Vicarage Road. They've left it late, but Southampton look like they might well have forced a replay, and their dream of a trip to Liverpool is still on.
Yeah, the question was, can Watford really weather this storm? They were doing all right, but then Mara got through. It was a good through ball into Mara. Mara's shot was a cross shot, really, and it should have been handled better from Bouchman. And it fell to Stuart Armstrong. He still had a lot to do just on the edge of the box. And he cut inside nicely and then just wrong-footed the goalkeeper with his strike from outside the box. Excellent finish from Stuart Armstrong. This one, yeah, we might get a replay, so we don't know who Liverpool will be playing at Anfield yet. Russell Martin's changes have eventually worked. There might even be another goal. You never know. Watford 1, Southampton 1.
Thanks, Jordan. So that one's still in the balance. We're into stoppage time in that game, but at Liverpool, it's all over.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, one of the permutations in the FA Cup is that Southampton, if they can overcome Watford in what looks like a replay, will go to Liverpool. If they do so, they will be reunited with Virgil van Dijk. And Virgil van Dijk has just gone and headed a fourth goal in that game at Anfield for Liverpool. It's Liverpool 4, Norwich City 0. And we'll be back to Molly Sumter in just a few moments' time. She can tell us about a load of Norwich changes, but that's probably immaterial now because Liverpool have gone and got a fourth. And Virgil van Dijk won't score many headers like that in the Premier League because the marking in the Premier League generally is very much better than the marking that Norwich City were able to offer in the penalty area from that corner. But to tell us about the goal, here's Molly Sumter up at Anfield.
Yeah, Norwich started with a triple change, but no sooner did they step on the field did they concede the fourth solidifying goal with this in this FA Cup tie. Virgil van Dijk quite far out in the box from a corner, but as you said, Barry, the defence is just not up to par for the strength and the power of Virgil van Dijk, who fires one into the left-hand side of the net. I think there's a few players stood in the keeper's way. He doesn't get a full view before that ball is in the back of his net, but it seems like it should be all over here. 64 minutes on the clock. Liverpool 4, Norwich 1.
Thanks very much, Molly. Yeah, he just had so much time. He could have popped behind the goal, found a fold-away table, put it in on the penalty spot, unfolded it, made a cup of tea, and it was still had time to head that ball into the net. It's so much time. Norwich just cannot defend like that against quality opposition like Liverpool. Liverpool 4, Norwich City 1, and Norwich almost certainly now out of the FA Cup. They've been showing an improvement in form in recent weeks as well. Norwich City climbing up towards the region of the playoffs, but it's not really happened for them. We're into 6 minutes of stoppage time in the game at Vicarage Road. It looks like it's going to go to a replay. Let's head back to Jordan Nicola. And Southampton have had a really good chance.
Yeah, they had a good chance. I don't think Southampton want the replay. They want to win it right now. And Adam Armstrong could have helped them with that. He was played through by Stuart Armstrong. His shot just wide of the target, but it's all Southampton. There's not long left, but it's all Southampton in these closing stages. They do not want a replay, and they're starting to show why they are third in the table and Watford are ninth. They're starting to show their quality, and there probably just is enough time for Southampton to nick it. No teams really want replays. I don't think Southampton want one here. Watford 1, Southampton 1.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, well, one game that hasn't had a goal yet has now got one. It's in our featured game in the Bundesliga. Union Berlin at home to Darmstadt. It's a big game, this one, down at the bottom. Union Berlin have shown some improvement in recent weeks after a terrible start to the season. They're just above the relegation zone. Darmstadt very much deep in the mix underneath that dotted line. And I can tell you, Union Berlin have scored. Hollerbach with the goal, and it's Union Berlin that lead by 1-0. That goal coming just after the hour mark. We'll be across to Mark Thomas, who can tell us all about that goal in just a couple of minutes' time. So Union Berlin are leading against Darmstadt. Watford 1, Southampton 1 is deep into stoppage time. Looks like there's going to be a replay to decide which one of those will be going to Anfield, because Liverpool are 4-1 up on Norwich. And around about 25 minutes to go in the game at Anfield. Can't see Norwich scoring 3 goals. Let's hear about that goal at Union Berlin at the Stadion and Forestieri. Here's Mark Thomas.
Yes, it finally came. It's what we've all been waiting for here. A breakaway. Darmstadt started to attack the last couple of minutes. They realized that they were in a football match. And, of course, as soon as they were doing that, Union Berlin got the breakaway. It was Gossens that started the move off deep inside his own half. He passed it out to the left. Schaefer put Hollerbach in, and Hollerbach made absolutely no mistake, putting it through the goalkeeper's legs and into the back of the net. 63 minutes, finally the breakthrough in this basement battle. It's Union Berlin 1, Darmstadt 0.
Thank you very much, Mark. I was waiting for you to finish the sentence there. I thought, who are they playing? I can tell you there's been another goal in the game at Anfield.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Oh, no, there isn't, I hear you say. Well, VAR has intervened and disallowed that goal. It was a Norwich goal, by the way, but it's been disallowed. We'll hear about that in just a second from Molly Sumpter. So it's still Liverpool 4, Norwich 1. It could have been 4-2, but VAR has said, no, thank you, we're not having that. And it must have been clear and obvious that it wasn't a goal, because they didn't take too long in reaching their decision. Let's head to Anfield. Molly Sumpter can bring us bang up to date with the Norwich City goal that wasn't.
Yeah, it's pretty clear and obvious, as you say. Miles offside is the Norwich player here. He crossed it over to Sam McCallum, who has then just done a tap-in from a not offside position. But in that lead-up, of course, he was offside. So as it stands, the scoreline remains the same. It's Liverpool 4, Norwich 1.
Thank you very much, Molly. Liverpool 4, Norwich 1. Watford have finished 1-1 against Southampton. We'll be across to Vicarage Road in just a second to hear a full-time report from Jordan Nicolai. That one will go to a replay. Can Norwich get back into it? They just had that goal disallowed, but
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
if at first you don't succeed, try again, even though you might be 4-1 down against one of the best teams in the world. It is Liverpool 4, Norwich 2. We will cross to Molly Sumpter in a second to hear about the 6th goal that she's seen this afternoon at Anfield. In fact, we can go to her right now, although VAR is looking at that, so we'll hold back from going to Molly until VAR has decided whether it's a goal or not. Let's actually, we will go to Molly, because I tell you, it is a goal. The goal has been given. Molly, you've had a good lion's share of goals this afternoon, and Norwich City have got a goal that has been given.
Yeah, what an entertaining display we've had this afternoon, and what a beautiful beautiful moment for Borja Sanz, who's got to the ball and unleashed a strong, powerful shot from quite far out. It's just got the perfect amount of curl on it. As you said, it might be pointless at this stage, but it's a wonderful, wonderful moment for this man and a beautiful strike for him. I think the slight confusion was whether there was a foul in the build-up, but pretty quickly that was not disputed. And as it stands, it is Liverpool 4, Norwich 2.
Thank you very much. Not quite so many goals in the game at Vicarage Road. It will need a replay. Watford 1, Southampton 1. Here's Jordan Nicolai.
Yeah, it ended Watford 1, Southampton 1. First half goal came from Martins for Watford, Mateus Martins. It was a great free kick. Caught the goalkeeper cold and just completely wrong-footed him with the free kick. Fantastic goal from him. And then Southampton, they bounced back. They made a host of changes, Russell Martin did. And Stuart Armstrong got the goal. Another goal where the goalkeeper was wrong-footed. A smart finish just from outside the box. This one will need a replay, but I will tell you that one of these two teams, whoever it is, they can give Liverpool a good game. So looking forward to the replay to see who will play Liverpool at Anfield. But this one ends Watford 1, Southampton 1.
Liverpool or Norwich, of course, if Norwich can find 2 more goals and take that one back to Carrow Road. We have reached the end of a scintillating 4-hour Football Live show. Liverpool 4, Norwich 2 with 20 minutes to go. It does look like Liverpool are going to make it through to the last 16 where they will host Watford or Southampton. Union Berlin 1-0 up on Darmstadt. Watford 1, Southampton 1. QPR 1, Huddersfield 1. Earlier on today, West Brom 0, Wolves 2. Australia through to the last 8 of the AFC Asian Cup with a comprehensive 4-0 thrashing of Indonesia. Montpellier 0, Lille 0, Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1. Girona top in La Liga. It's been a very entertaining show. Thank you very much for your company today and indeed yesterday on the show. We'll be back again next week on Football Live, exclusive to Brilla FM. Have a great week, everybody. You have been listening to Football Live, exclusive to Brilla FM, sponsored by NairaBet.